We are
And we're live. We're
live.
live.
Hello.
Wahahaha.
Hello.
We're back.
We, we are. We disappeared mysteriously and then reappeared without explanation, just like many characters in this television show.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa. I'm fucking shots fired right at the gate. Damn.
no, we're part of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm Baki Balboa, and
And I'm
this is Belak.
I'm Balak, and we don't like it. We don't like the show, I think.
No, I know.
Unfortunately.
It started as a good dragon show, and now it's not such a good dragon show anymore.
It's just the Dragon Show. I've been calling it. I've been calling it Dragon Show, Dragon Show. I have to watch the Dragon Show.
I'm compelled to watch the dragon
I'm contractually compelled to watch the Dragon Show.
by a crippling obsessive compulsion with this source material. Unfortunately,
Listen, I have a very normal relationship with this source material. I have a very this is very normal.
how difficult is it to like? This must be. I know you've said that Ryan Condal is targeting you personally, like
He
in
is.
many
He's
different
menacing me.
instances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's menacing me personally. Him and Sarah Hess occasionally just menace me directly. Yeah, constantly.
Belak has the pleasure of hosting a wonderful podcast about Fire and Blood, a close reading of Fire Blood, House of Fire and
Yep.
Blood, which you should listen to.
Yes.
But it also makes watching this particular television program like an exercise in torture
Masochism.
question mark.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because my other podcast co-host Gretchen and I started House of Fire and Blood because we were so impressed by season 1 of House of the Dragon. And we thought, what if we read all of Fire and Blood and tried to interpret it like the writers interpreted season 1, where like you're really looking deeply into what is actually in the text, what is the bias, what could actually have happened, that kind of stuff. And it's very intellectually interesting to do. But yes, I now have my own interpretation of the text. And sometimes I'm unhappy because the show just isn't that. And I'm like trying to parse out the moments when like I'm just unhappy because it's not what I would have done versus I'm unhappy because it's bad. Like that's the difference. I'm trying to pull apart. And I think we'll talk about some of that. I have some thoughts about Tumbleton, for example, and some of what we've been seeing. But the last time we spoke was about episodes 1 and 2.
That's right.
So now we have episodes, 3, 4, 5, and 6?
Basically, all the way from the last time we spoke, Rhaenyra had just taken King's Landing, I think, was the...
And since then, so much has happened.
We had episode 3, which was what Rhaenyra... We lived in Rhaenyra's POV, which I actually, I thought was interesting in certain ways, and it also... We spoke about this, but it just felt like a different television show.
Yeah. That's probably my biggest gripe, is probably episode 3. And then I don't totally remember the differences between 4, 5, and 6. I think you said it best. You said when we were messaging about it, you said the past few episodes has just been like a collection of scenes and it's given to you to determine what matters.
Yeah. It's sort of it's almost like an escape room where you're just without context kind of dropped in the middle of it, and it's like there's a bunch of clues and it's up to you to determine hey, and it at certain points someone is like, no, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. No, that book on the shelf has nothing to do with the clues that you're trying to find.
Well, did I not call the fact that at the end of whichever episode it was where Alicent and Helena get stuck in the secret room, in the secret hallway?
5.
Yeah, I said to you
just a mere less than 2 weeks ago.
Oh God. I said to you, I'm like, wait, what do you want to bet? Like, what's the over under on that not mattering even the slightest? And it didn't. They just were found.
Yeah.
That was it.
And Rhaenyra issues a bit of a hand slap. So yeah, we've had a couple of episodes of Alicent and Helena trying an increasingly comedic series of escape attempts, almost cartoonishly, to the point where the last time they get caught before the tunnel, they're literally dressed as chambermaids.
Yeah, with their whole faces out.
Yeah.
Their whole entire faces out. They said no one will recognize this Targaryen queen. That's no one will know. It'll be great.
So yeah, Rhaenyra has been in this seat as she is now, on the throne and is holding King's Landing, but the war is still ongoing. They're really hammering home just how, like, the war and ruling are not the same, and she is struggling to get a hold of her legitimacy, and she's being
Well, because they suddenly wrote her to have the brains of a fucking potato. So I mean, like this is like my gripe about episode 3 and on is
yeah.
like the writing of Rhaenyra. I mean, maybe this is a good place to start because we're going to talk generally about the episodes, and then they're going to get more specifically into this more recent one, episode 6,
we'll
because that's what
discuss
most of our
episode 6.
anger is at this point. Rhaenyra is we see in the television show, exclude the source material. We see
Right.
in the television show in season 1 that she is trained by King Viserys how to do politics, and she is good at doing politics. We see it repeatedly in the show. And we know she's been ruling Dragonstone for like 20 years. That's not a small seat. That's like the secondary seat of House Targaryen. So she should be very good at this. And the menace Ryan Condal keeps saying in the outside the episodes that Rhaenyra is having trouble ruling just like Aegon did when he was sitting. And I'm like, they're not the same. They're not remotely. The whole point is supposed to be that Aegon is not fit because he wasn't trained for this, because he's a fucking usurper.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, ruling is hard for everybody. And I'm like, because you've made her stupid. Like you've made it like she's like confronted with like, oh no, the dragons are eating all the sheep. And she says like, well, maybe shear the sheep first and then feed the sheep to the dragon. It's like, Rhaenyra, why don't you go fishing? King's Landing's along the. There's a million ways she could go around that, and also she doesn't have to hold court like this.
Right.
They keep showing these court scenes in the various of these episodes where she's sitting like confused as she's being confronted by the populace, and I'm like, she doesn't need to do that. She also could like bring him in one at a time so they don't rabble. Like there's like so many things. It's like so desperately contrived.
And there's a war on, right? Like,
yeah, like she doesn't need to do.
You might suspend the court like while there's a war on. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What I've found is it's interesting how these last few episodes kind of getting Rhaenyra to this point, and I say to this point as if like a lot of plot has occurred, like when in reality, I think what I found so surprising about this season is how much things like ground to a halt after episode 2.
That happened in season 2 also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 2, she takes King's Landing, and like Rhaenyra, not much has changed in Rhaenyra's world. Since episode 2, definitely nothing has changed in Alicent and Helena's, like until this most recent episode for Alicent now. Aemond, episode 2 showed up to Harrenhal. He has not done anything since then. Aegon and Larys have been on their little kind of side quests, and haven't really made progress aside from Aegon killing that one guy in episode 5, the guy who made him kiss his boots or whatever. And then Daemon has been kind of spinning his wheel. Like there's just a lot of Tumbleton has been episode 4, I believe, was called Tumbleton. And we've now had 3 episodes of Tumbleton, which is a known, thing amongst like readers of Fire and Blood, famously, that there are 2 very famous things that happen at Tumbleton, and none of those things have happened.
None of them have happened.
Despite it being on screen for 3 episodes.
There are exactly 2 important things that happen at Tumbleton, and if you just wrote Daeron out of the show, then there's 1 important thing that happens at Tumbleton, and no important things that happen at Tumbleton.
Yeah, it's been quite.
Yeah,
strange.
I'm not sure that like the writers at HBO at large like have met the concept of pacing, because this is a repeated problem in a lot of their television shows. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us. There's a lot of television shows on HBO that are specifically that are adaptations of other media where they are making substantive changes and cannot keep the pace. They cannot figure out how to do something every episode. And this really worries me because we don't, like, as you've pointed out before, I think about this all the time. We don't have a lot of episodes left. We don't have a lot of screen time. We're not ending on the God's Eye this season, which means God's Eye is next season. What?
Could be.
That's going to be insane. Like, we're going to have I was thinking maybe they were going to do the Moon and the Three Kings here, and they're kind of alluding to it, and I could see that happening with Daemon around, but like we've been spinning our wheels in King's Landing for episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6 now. Yep. Like, do it. You have to do the story. At some point the story has to occur.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the, you know, the idea, because there was a lot of thought about the fact that, like, hey, exploring character and taking the time to explore character is something that people wanted more of in late seasons of Game of Thrones, and now House of the Dragon's doing it and people don't like it. But it's not necessarily that they're taking time to explore new aspects of people's character. To me, like, a lot of scenes repeat things that we already know about people's character. And they end up having the same conversation, like, kind of over and over again. And I'm like, if this is being done in lieu of advancing the plot, like, then no, it is not worth it, because this examination is not revealing new things about these characters. It's just saying the same stuff,
right?
A slightly different way.
Right. Absolutely. That's a really good point. So a few points on that. You shouldn't have to choose between exploring character and your plot. They should intertwine. The two things should intertwine. And by way of example, my biggest complaint so far this season is episode 3. I hated episode 3. And I would have liked episode 3, but for the 20 episodes that preceded it. Because that version of Rhaenyra, who, like, can't rule, is overwhelmed by the fucking smallest shit, and is, like, growing in anxiety. Like, it's very artistically shot. There was, like, some interesting, like, I get what they were going
for. Sure. Yeah.
But that's not the person we've known for these seasons. That at all. That could have been. They could have written Rhaenyra that way if they wanted to. They certainly could have, but they specifically didn't. And that would have been a great episode for both moving the plot and characterization, right? Because if it was like, here's Rhaenyra finally ruling, and here's how she rules, and look at how good she is. Look at how competent she is. And then maybe in some of her competence, if you want to ultimately get to a point where you're saying, like, she is also bad because monarchy is bad, which is kind of the point of the book. Sure. You could have her rule competently, but also do some things that are, like, you know, violent, or maybe she gets overconfident and makes a mistake or something along those lines. But, like, you know, Communist Manifesto Rhaenyra, who feeds all the nobles rats because she is mad that they haven't fed the poor. Rhaenyra Targaryen is a princess of House Targaryen. She is a monarchist. She is the monarch. She is more for the people than other monarchs, maybe. Sure. But she is not, like, trying to implement. This is not Rhaenyra Mamdani over here. She is Rhaenyra Targaryen is trying to rule absolutely because Daddy did. So it's just like the whole thing was so out there, and such a good opportunity for characterization, like you were saying. And ultimately, as the season has unfolded, you could have gone from episode 2 to episode 4. Skipped episode 3, and what would you have lost?
Yeah. We also have during all this time, this has reminded me how much of this season is really just like, it is just 1,000 things happening, but, like, it does any of it matter? Is any of it relevant? No, you know, who's to say? I guess to set ourselves up for where we are come season 6, if only
we had that kind of screen time.
Episode 6, to set ourselves up for where we are. The other big thing that is going on with Helaena is that it is revealed that Helaena is pregnant. It's unclear whether this is Aegon's child. It's assumed that it is. No one said anything otherwise, but we know, as, you know, watchers of the show, that, like, Aegon has been burnt for quite a while, so, and Helaena does not look overly far along in her pregnancy.
Timeline wise, it's I think it's like, I know the internet likes to think it's Aemon's child,
right,
but Uh,
Which
but I don't believe
which
so.
there's a
No.
whole separate conversation to
Yeah.
chuckle about the incest that the show depicts as gross versus the incest that it depicts as totally cool and fine and
Yeah.
actually we like chill.
Yeah. It's fine
Yeah,
that Bela
anyways.
and Alan kissed and that's his dad and her grandpa. It's fine.
I was just like, why is this being portrayed this way? Like, what's happening? Anyways, I don't know. Anywho, so my the interesting thing that this sets up is also connected to Masaria because the show has made Masaria a key figure of Rhaenyra's court when
Mhm.
obviously Fire and Blood she plays a quite different role in how it's revealed that she is like
Mhm.
involved. It's not this direct like Mistress of Whispers thing like from the very
Mhm.
beginning. But anyway, so she's the Mistress of Whispers, but over these last couple of episodes, basically she finds out about Helena's pregnancy and has chosen not to reveal this to Rhaenyra, which is quite a change from Azaria, who was like ride or die for
Mhm.
Rhaenyra, but seemingly Alicent has convinced this like master spy to potentially turn on
I
Rhaenyra, but I don't really understand Mazaria's like motivation because Rhaenyra hasn't really done anything aside from maybe like prioritizing a conversation with Daemon over her. Like
Mhm.
I haven't seen her choose to do anything that would actively because an easy way to start to sow division would have been if Rhaenyra, like if Mazaria proposed some type of action against the nobles of King's Landing, and Rhaenyra was
Mhm.
like, "No, I can't do that. That's politically insane. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that." And Mazaria starts to be like, "Oh wait, maybe she isn't as for the people as I thought she was going to be, and I'm not
Right.
right." Rhaenyra's just done everything that Mazaria wants her to do, and Mazaria is now also being like, I don't know if I can trust her and
The
whatever.
only
It's very
scene
odd.
the only scene like that I think comes after Mazaria finds out about the pregnancy, which is when Rhaenyra in the most recent episode, episode 6, Rhaenyra is on the throne and the Septa comes in and says like our like there's no one to protect our Septa. Our girl, one of our girls was carried off, one of our women was carried off.
Right.
And Rhaenyra is like, I'll light a candle for her. Which
Thoughts and
like
prayers.
and then there's like a shot to Mazaria looking upset. And I'm like,
That's
again,
true.
this is so silly. Rhaenyra literally has a dragon. Like, if she wanted to stop this shit, she could just get on the dragon and go outside and say,
Yeah.
if you steal septas, I will eat you with my
Right.
dragon. And then find the particular thief, eat him in front of everybody, and say, you choose. You want to steal a septa? My dragon's hungry. Pick.
Yep.
You know, and that's the kind of shit Rhaenyra would do. So
Yeah.
uh it's like the whole thing's ridiculous. But yeah, I agree. It's like there's so much happens in these episodes and yet so little, you
Yeah.
know? And there's also so much confusion about
Right.
it's inconsistent. Like Mazaria's actions are inconsistent,
Yeah.
and not I don't know. I find it confusing. Well, like let's talk for example, we didn't get to speak about the Daeron switcheroo, the
Yeah.
Daeron trick. When Rhaenyra
Oh
discovered
man.
hair dye exists in this, you know that she was looking at that fake Daeron like pulling out his roots, and she's like, "You're kidding me! I could have dyed my kid's hair this color the whole time and avoided the
Mhm.
whole thing."
Right. Right.
I want to know how that kid's roots didn't grow out on the walk from Templeton to King's Landing.
Yep. Well, and
uh,
even beyond that, because I think they were still further into the reach. Like they kind of continued marching after that.
yeah.
Yeah, that whole the fake Daron plot really, really, really ground my gears. I'm not gonna lie,
Mhm.
because one, the idea of it, um, the idea of Ormond handing over a hostage in disguise, like the potential risk in that moment, right?
Mhm.
Is his whole army gets torched if
Yeah.
Daemon finds out that there's been treachery, right? There
Mhm.
are 3 dragons, 2 of which are Vermithor and Silverwing.
Mhm.
and Caraxes. Like, it is over
Yeah.
for the Hightowers. If so, he will literally lead to the deaths of his entire army and
Mhm.
himself, right? Like, if this happens, the Tessarion will die. Like, there's no end to the destruction it will wrought if he is found out in that moment. And it
Mhm.
is imminent. It is like so easy for Daemon to find him out,
Mhm.
right? Like, it could go so wrong. The risk is absolutely not worth the reward.
Well, the reward is
And
he has to go take Tumbleton, Phil. Come on. You've got to take the
he
very
needs
important Tumbleton.
he needs one day or whatever. He needs like 2 weeks, I guess, to like find out how to take Tumbleton.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the fact that it works then pissed me off further, but it really, what really got me about the whole thing is I was even willing, like, after it happened, I'm like, okay, that was stupid, but like, at least we'll get to meet Darren now. And
Mhm.
then Darren has brown hair.
Right.
So why would Ormond dye this kid's hair? Like, why wouldn't he give him a brown-haired kid and say this is Ormond?
Right, like
Like, or this is Daron. Like, why go through the
this
trouble of
is
dyeing the kid's hair?
this is a prince of the realm. Are you trying to tell me they sent him away as an infant and never saw him again in Old Town?
Never,
He
not
has
once.
he has a dragon. He's a dragon rider. That's not even a long commute between Old Town and King's Landing. That's like a day or
Right.
two's ride. Like and I mean, part of the problem with this is that they initially wrote Daron out in season 1 and then rewrote him in season 2. In my opinion, they should have kept him out. We could talk about larger concepts in terms of pacing, but
Sure.
now they've written him back in. Now they've given him brown hair. It doesn't make any sense. You know what? It kind of wouldn't make sense if maybe Daemon was bamboozled by it, but then like Daemon gets back to King's Landing at the end of the episode and is like, "Got Daron," and Rhaenyra is like, "That's not fucking Daron. Allison's fourth kid has brown hair, you dipshit." You know,
Yeah.
if she had noticed it right away, but
Yeah.
for all of them to be tricked, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
There's so many things that I think
Yeah.
about with Daron where, like, yeah, one, just like from a warding, like the way that wards work and all of this stuff, like the idea that
Mhm.
Alicent like gave birth to a presumably bald baby and then sent him away and he was never seen again by anyone of importance, like,
Mhm.
while he had hair, is just, it's nuts. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
And while he's
and
of age now where would be trying to betroth him,
yes,
people would know
yes,
what he looks like.
yes. And
Like
like the whole thing is very, it's just, it is a contrivance, right? Like, it is
yeah.
just a contrivance. The frustrating thing, and this is kind of where a lot of my, like, some of my frustrations about the show just kind of come to a head, is the fact that, like, it's not so much that it is a contrivance, right? That they have this fake Daron plot and that Daron doesn't have the same color hair. It's just, why is, in a show in which screen time is going to start becoming like, or start coming at an absolute premium, right? Like,
Mhm.
we only have so much time left.
Mhm.
Why is this staying in when other stuff left and right is getting cut?
Yeah.
That could be more compelling, more interesting. Like, I just don't understand how that cleared the bar,
Mhm.
because it feels like, one, it is absolute nonsense. Like, you think about it for more than 2 seconds and it's absolutely crazy. Like,
Mhm.
it just
Yeah.
shouldn't be written. But the more brutal thing is that there is stuff that was cut in favor of showing that, and I find that insane. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think in terms of why they did it, I know why they did it because it would shock the audience.
right,
And Game of Thrones has this thing where they want to surprise you.
yeah,
And it did shock the audience because we don't know canonically. I mean, Darren's described as having silver hair in the books, but that could very well not be true. And that it's actually, I think, an interesting interpretation that he looks more Hightower. I
sure,
think actually the fact that Queen Rhaenys, or the queen who never was, Rhaenys,
yeah,
Corlys's first wife, the fact that she in the books has black hair, I do think was part of the reason, besides misogyny, that she was passed over in favor of Viserys because she didn't look
Sure.
Targaryen.
Yeah.
And that there's a history in Westeros of that. It's white supremacy. So that's an interesting interpretation, but it's shocking to the audience briefly, and then you take 15 seconds or so to think about it, and you say that doesn't make any sense in universe. It is not worth it to sacrifice the validity and integrity of your canon to surprise me.
Right.
It's not worth it. And it just wasn't. I mean, you want to talk though about characterization again, like it could have characterized a lot of people if Daemon didn't even notice this isn't his nephew, because he wields political power through violence, where Rhaenyra wields it through actual politics. So if he didn't notice it wasn't actually his nephew or whatever, however they really did, I forget, and Rhaenyra did, like that would be moving the plot and characterization. But meanwhile, the Valyrians clearly have more plot on the cutting room floor.
Oh,
they
100%.
clearly cut so much of the Valyrian plot line, and I am upset about that.
And there's a lot of there are a lot of Adam and Alan scenes that clearly have not made the show because well, we'll talk about episode 6, and how stuff just started happening.
There's plenty of stuff that's not on our screen. You're right, that like they spent in episode 3 like probably 4 or 5 scenes on Daeron. Well, you know what the number one thing was? They opened episode 3 with the Daeron trade, or the fake Daeron trade. And oh no, what happened to Otto Hightower? Said no one. Like it was another one where like at the end of episode 2, Otto Hightower is brutally beheaded in the throne room. Alicent walks in and we get like a spit take, gasp reel. Oh no, Phil, are you there?
I am.
Okay. I see your picture went away.
Weird.
Okay.
I think
at the end of episode 2, we get this like spit take of Alicent being like, oh, and Rhaenyra goes, oh, and they have like this moment. And I'm like, oh my God, like what are they're going to confront each other. There's going to be like a thing. The whole court is here, whatever. Like, I can't wait to see what happens in this moment, because like it's her father, but Alicent also never liked Otto. He was kind of a douchebag. And Rhaenyra just did this, but Alicent just let her into the city, quote unquote, with her flying machines through the gates, quote unquote. And then the next episode, nothing. 0%. No, absolutely no interest in that whatsoever. But we spend the whole cold open doing the fake Daeron trade. So like there is just so much screen time dedicated to something they thought, like the writers thought was like tricky. Like it's tricky for you. And I was like, it's not really that tricky. It's not that clever.
Right. This the comment isn't teleporting bold John Roxton jaw dropping. Yes.
Oh, which one is that?
He's the bowl cut Ormond sidekick. Yeah. Bold Johnny Roxton.
So
unfortunate.
There is a lot that's cut. So like there's the King's Landing, Alicent stuff. What do you think about all this Daemon with the gold cloaks stuff?
Where to even begin?
Someone, I think I sent you this video. Someone put the sound for Undercover Boss over Daemon hiding as a gold cloak.
Yes. Oh my gosh, amazing! Truly
peak
amazing.
Internet.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I really have like, it's hard for me to even like put into words, like just I like, well, let me start at the beginning, I guess. I'm overall a fan of Daemon having this, like, it's like his one connection is to like any sort of brotherhood or whatever, is this group of problematic bachelors, that the squad or whatever. And I think I like that he has doubled down on this sort of like old camaraderie, and it's a very much like a bro thing that he is able to connect with these guys. What I don't like is this sort of thing. Like, why is the king consort walking around the streets of King's Landing playing cop? Like, that's more
especially when
so
he's like literally literally a dragon rider.
right.
You know,
Literally.
like
yeah, it just like that's the stuff that I just don't get why it's Daemon.
it feels very this part feels particularly wheel spinny to me. Like
Right.
it's like, I don't know. I think maybe part of the problem is that like, so the text of Fire and Blood is obviously very biased from the Maester's point of view against Rhaenyra and in favor of Aegon, right?
Sure.
Because the Maester is sexist. But actually, at the time Rhaenyra takes King's Landing from the Greens, at this point in time in the books, she is pretty much in control. She is like way winning this war, like super duper winning this war. And
yeah,
the Maester even in the text tries really hard to explain like how her being bad is what leads to the war continuing, basically. But that's not true. So
sure.
I think the show is trying to make it like Rhaenyra is making mistakes in some way that are leading to like the struggle, like but it ends up feeling contrived. Like the conflict feels artificial because like, what do you mean in King's Landing there's a bunch of people that are in favor of King Aegon who is presumed dead? Like there's not even, and like Daeron is not even a figure in King's Landing. He hasn't been there since he was an infant. So the whole thing is just like totally crazy. I mean, part of the great tragedy of the story in the book is that most of the Seven Kingdoms expected Rhaenyra to be queen and wanted her to be queen. So it's not that the people were like against her. That doesn't make any sense. So the whole thing's very contrived, and the Daemon stuff is just very like, every episode he's talking to the Gold Cloaks, and every episode, oh, the Gold Cloaks are being attacked in the streets, and oh, there's they made gold coins with a face on it, a face of a boy no one has ever seen, apparently, including his close family.
Right.
And that's stirring resentment. And we can't manage to send our Gold Cloaks out in like a buddy system to prevent these attacks, like it just seems so easily fixable for a problem that just is not that big. Like, oh, our police force sometimes gets attacked. Like, yeah, they do. That happens. You just send out more police.
Right. And yeah, there was something like odd about, the way that these murders were happening, where it's like, okay, we're finding like disemboweled city watchmen who were killed with no witnesses, no sign of what is going on. And so the natural thing to think is like something supernatural is going on here, right? Like there's simply no way that a person with a dagger is gutting someone in full armor without someone noticing. Like these are taking like a lot of work, and someone got into Goldcloak's headquarters and killed the commander of the city watch and put him in this just like macabre display along with 7 of his best mates.
That is taken from the book, but that happens in the Riverlands, and it's as a trap. That's what that's meant. Like they just saw it in the book and they said, this is cool, but let's do it in completely the wrong context in a place that makes no sense.
What if we did it like different though?
What if we did it completely different in a way that makes no sense whatsoever? You know what this whole thing reminds me of? This reminds me a lot of how the Game of Thrones television show portrayed the Sons of the Harpy and Meereen, where they're like this like secret almost like assassin level like group. And at least the Sons of the Harpy made a lot more sense because Daenerys was literally invading Meereen. Like she was taking over Meereen. She was trying to impose her will as ruler there. So she had a lot of resistance. That made sense. Rhaenyra is not taking over King's Landing. The Greens were taking over King's Landing. The Greens did the coup. And the people of King's Landing are like have brains. I know that. So it just doesn't make sense that there would be at this point this kind of resistance, especially given they show things like Rhaenyra personally handing out food.
Yep.
Which was kind of silly, but like, you know, this it doesn't it's lazy. The like magic assassin in the shadow who like is killing all your dudes.
Yep.
Is definitely a lazy form of writing.
Yep. Yeah. It's just been a little bit. Yeah. That to me is because it promises something that I think they ultimately will like not deliver on, and we'll talk about episode 6, like what they say about the assassins, because we do learn something in episode 6. But I don't know. I guess do you want to just dive into this most recent episode now that we're sort of
let's do it. Let's do it.
all these different ways.
I have a lot of thoughts with the Valerians, but I want to explore that through episode 6. So
yeah, I think a fitting way to do it for sure. The one other part that we didn't talk about is Rhaena.
Justice for Nettles, justice for Rhaena. It's a disaster.
I think this episode, the Rhaena Jane Eyre scene, is a good way to then talk about what they're doing with Rhaena and Nettles in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we open on what eventually becomes the Butcher's Ball. So Criston Cole's army of seemingly now like him and like 11 guys. Are still marching their way through the Riverlands, and they end up in this scene, which is, you know, it's a staged thing by the Riverlanders of there's a bunch of dead bodies, but it's actually just a trap. And Criston does a decent amount of killing, and then thinks that he's won against this Riverlander trap, only to find out that he is surrounded by, I don't know, 200,000 Riverland troops.
Every Riverlander to exist appears at once. They snap their fingers and they appear. Yes, so they
the largest army ever assembled in Westeros appears.
And they give me one. They give me one good book line, which is, "Who is that? That is our death."
Yes,
which is fine. Thank you, Ryan. And then they give us a little bit of a gobbledygook of some book lines, but they're shouting at each other. Criston Cole and whoever the fuck the other people are, Oscar Tully, one of the Muppets, I don't know.
Oscar Tully and Rowdy Roddy.
Yeah.
Dustin.
They are shouting book lines at each other from like across a field. They are like many, many yards away. And that was fine. I was like, that's kind of weird. It was kind of weird for Oscar Tully to deliver that line, because I think you made a TikTok about this, right? He is not the one that delivers in the book, and it did feel out of character.
Yeah, well, because Oscar Tully, like what we've seen, you know, he like shames Daemon in one of the early episodes about, nope, like we're Riverlanders, we care for our dead, and we're gonna return them to the mud. You can't burn them. That's not what we do. And he's just generally been like, you know, they show him as maybe becoming a little more savvy. Although I think this whole to talk about big season stuff, I have no idea like why they decided to do what they did, aside from it allowed them not to show battles on screen between the Riverland and Northern armies and the Lannister and Crownlands armies. Like it just allowed them to skip them. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna do this whole guerrilla campaign. Like Criston Cole's like, we're gonna do this whole guerrilla campaign, and then Oscar Tully's like, so will we, despite the fact that we have like a massive numbers advantage in this version of the canon. So yeah, it was just like that whole thing has struck me as strange. So maybe they're trying to show him as a little more savvy, whatever, but we've never seen him be ruthless, and we've definitely never seen him speak with the sort of rhetoric that Garibald Gray says during the Butcher's Ball, when he says that I will build a sept of traitors' bones.
Right.
But he is not Oscar Tully. Like he's not a Tully boy.
I would have loved the narrative of Oscar Tully to be a green boy who hardens during this war, because that's very broken men. That's very, that's like George R. R. Martin's whole thing is that war is bad and it does bad things to you. That would have been great, but we would have needed it a lot more for Oscar Tully. And even something as simple as like he walks onto the field like pretty clean, like his face is pretty clean, like his curls are bouncing. He's the broccoli headed boy you see at the gym that's on the machine you want, like that. He's just like that kid. But even if he came in with like blood or dirt, or so, even if he had been part of the surprise attack, and he had been savage in some way, and because like that line is really intense. It's a very intense line to deliver. And through no fault of the actor, it just, the characterization wasn't there.
Yeah. What so at this point, like they're shouting these lines back and forth, and it is at this point that Criston Cole kind of readies himself and makes this challenge that he does in Fire and Blood, where I mean I felt like, given the characters that are present, it's not, he challenges 3 guys to a fight in Fire and Blood. In this, he challenges a teenager and an old man to a fight, which is not exactly the badass. I don't know that it would have been the glorious death that he wanted anyways. Whereas like, he was killed by a 65-year-old northerner who's literally just trying to die. Like that's his whole thing. Like he's the only other character who's literally just whole thing is dying. Roddy Dustin. But anyways, him being Criston Cole like retrieves Alicent's favor from his sleeve, wraps it around the hilt of his sword, and then like prepares himself for battle and like issues this challenge before being unceremoniously shot by the character that we can only assume and be told is Black Ellie Blackwood. We've never been actually told that, or
also definitely has a whole narrative on the cutting room floor. Definitely. I would have very loved to have foregone fake Daeron for literally anything about Black Ellie Blackwood. Like that's So they talked about the fact that a lot has been made of Criston Cole's death, and the fact that it happens at the beginning of the episode. This is like sort of a meta thing of it doesn't matter as much, or it doesn't matter enough to be, at the end of an episode and be like the main thing that happens. And he dies shot through with arrows and doesn't get to fight. But they also forego the line that Geralt Grey says in Fire and Blood about "I'll have no songs about you, how bravely you died." Kingmaker, and they also Kingmaker. I'm generally upset about the sidelining of the whole idea that Criston Cole like is a Kingmaker and played like a pivotal role in Aegon's coronation and all this sort of stuff, and is his hand to the king. But what did you make of I guess like how this landed? So I was upset that they cut that line because it's like such a good line and they should never cut any George R. R. Martin lines. I don't know why they cut it. Like there are things they do that I can figure out, and there are things that I just can't figure out. Regarding the meta comment, no, it is not meta, because it's if you have to explain it, it's not meta. If you have to come out and say, well, our script is so deep and meaningful, you just don't understand. It's because his death wasn't important. It's like, okay, sweetie, let's back that up. First of all, Criston Cole's death, extremely important. Yeah. Extremely important. Just because Aegon's he didn't die the way he was Aegon's hand was just killed. Like very, very important. Just it's not that it wasn't important. It was that he didn't die the glorious quote unquote way he wanted to. That two different things. Extremely important. Absolutely belonged at the end of the episode. Terrible idea to open with it. It does not make it cool hip meta commentary to start with it and be like, and then no one talked about it because he didn't matter. Like, yes, he matters a lot. He matters a lot. He's a big, big part of this fucking war. Like, he's really important. And you can get, I think, a better effect of how sudden this death is, how unceremonious it is, sort of akin to Robb Stark being shot through at the Red Wedding, but
Mhm.
you do it at the end of the episode. And you
Right.
build to it as if there is going to be a battle, as if they're like we're about to see like a big battle, and they're going to fight and they're going to fight to the death. And then you give the line and say, no, I'm not going to have no songs written about you and your glorious
Mhm.
death, and then have him shot through. Is just, I mean, in my opinion, much, much more effective than putting it first and having no one talk about it or react to it for the rest of the episode.
Right.
It's just the way they've been structuring again, I don't know that the writers at HBO have really ever understood the concept of pacing. It didn't make any sense to open with it. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents on it, I guess.
Yeah. And I think unfortunately, like there is this conflation going on about like what the show was trying to accomplish with Cole, and what they, I think, failed to land by making the scene what it was, its position in the episode, all of this stuff. Like what they were setting up for was that Cole is fighting a ultimately like feudal war
Mm-hmm.
against a system that has exploited him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there is no glory to be found in it for anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the war doesn't bring glory to anybody. All the system does is grind people into dust and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
blood and guts and all this sort of stuff, right? So there's like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things that they were trying to say of like, he sees the battle at Rook's Rest and gets this nihilistic fatalist view of we all just are ash and like
Mm-hmm.
none of this matters.
Mm-hmm.
But then like that, like landing that message of the glory, like the self-proclaimed like greatest fighter in the kingdom
Mm-hmm.
being killed unceremoniously by an archer is not, it's not because it doesn't matter. It's
Right.
because like his death matters in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
like he is another victim of this whole thing, right?
Right.
Like
There is
it's not like,
there
oh,
is
get
not
wrecked,
glory.
Cole, right? Like
Right.
like at least we shouldn't feel that way. Like I don't think, right? Because he has this whole conversation about I don't want to serve another noble house. I don't want to like be a pawn still.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to take control of my destiny.
Right. The point is
And
that it's not that
yeah,
it doesn't his death doesn't matter. The point is that there is in fact no glory in war. That
right.
war is a bad thing for everyone. That is George. I mean, George R. R. Martin like didn't go to Vietnam. Like he refused to go in the draft and stuff like that. Like he's always been very anti-war, and that's like a primary message in his writing.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing too is if you're trying to convince me in your television show that you've included a scene about someone dying who doesn't matter, I'm gonna need you to take that script back for a minute. I'm gonna need you to say, okay, the point of this is that it doesn't matter. Like, what the fuck are you filming it for then? Like, of course, it has to
Right.
matter to be on my screen. So, like,
Right.
what are you talking about? This is just like show defender shit. That's like, they didn't land the point they were trying to make. And the other thing too is in the books, the death of Kristen Cole is one of the moments during the dance where you're kind of like, awesome, good,
Right.
a bad person died. Like
Yeah.
it's okay to be like, yay, get wrecked. Kristen Cole is actually a fine response, I think.
Right.
But it's not that it doesn't matter that it's like so meta and cool. I hate whenever, and like HBO does this all the time, where they write something stupid and they try to act like it's very artsy and they're so smart.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you just like you can't think ahead in like an episode. You don't understand. You don't something over there that they just fundamentally don't understand, like episodic
Right.
television.
Right.
So,
yeah. So Kristen killed by Black Ellie Blackwood, who is shown on screen inexplicably, despite having no characterization or even like
oh
her
yeah, there were
name.
people online being like, it's really fitting that he was killed by a woman because he's such a misogynist. And I'm like, sure.
I guess.
I don't like. If he knew her or something, maybe there would be something to go with, but we don't even know her technically. So,
right. That's kind of my whole thing is like, why are we? Oh, am I frozen?
oh, I can hear you, but you have frozen
Okay.
your video. I suppose. Oh, you're back.
Here we go.
There you go.
I think I don't know. My computer is doing something silly. Anyways, so the yeah, and I also saw people on the other end being like, oh, this is just Condal trying to put a girl boss moment in as per usual, like, and it's too woke and everything. And it's like, listen, the problem with the scene is not that a woman archer kills Cole. It's completely fine.
Right.
The problem is that this person is not a character in the show.
Right.
Like I'm not talking, like, I don't give a shit, right? Like, it should have been, if you don't put Black Alley in the show, I am mad at you. And I'm also mad at them for omitting Sabbatha Frey. They will never, Condal will never see the pearly gates due to omitting that particular relationship. But that, like, the fact that they chose to include that shot, and again, this is where I'm like, it's more of a decision-making issue. Like, it's like even beyond the writing and other stuff, because I at the heart of it, I have to feel like there is a more coherent story that was written that it is just not present now because of the cuts to the change to the structure of the show.
I know you have that faith. I think that faith is well placed for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
I think that absolutely happened in Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
I don't know that happened as of season 3 of House of the Dragon.
So, but what I'll say is that, like, the choice to include that shot of Black Alley just doesn't make any sense, given the fact that they chose not to characterize her up to this point. She is in the background of 2 scenes in this whole show. And I know if I was a show only watcher, my question would have been, who is that?
Who is that?
I've seen her. Like, maybe a close show watcher would be like, I've seen that girl. She was in that other scene.
They could have literally even done like 15 to 30 seconds on her being the best archer.
Yeah.
They could have done like, you know, during that like celebration scene, like, and to Black Alley, who shot 15 dudes through the eye, you know, whatever. Yeah. And then moved on.
Yeah.
And like
a line from the Fish Feed song they wrote could have been about,
and then we would have known, like, oh, she's the best archer. Consequently, she's the one shooting Cole from so far away. Like it would have been like, it's not that hard to put this together. So
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, again, you know, and I think we've run across this quite a few times. If you're going to change the adaptation, make it better, right? Like, and there have been times where they make a decision. I'm like,
there were
that's interesting
things that I liked. Right? Yes. Yeah. I like that Daeron has brown hair. I think that adds actually quite a layer to it. And I look back on my prior analysis of the books and I'm like, oh, that actually complicates things if he does have brown hair.
They just keep doing this stuff where it's like they make a change from the adaptation, but it doesn't make it better or more compelling or anything like that. And it just, and then you're just left thinking like, well, why'd you do all that?
I want to put a pin in that problem if we can come back to that at the end, because I want to try to unpack why that's happening.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. But I think there will be other opportunities.
Also, hi Gail in the chat. Sorry, we're just like cooking over here. I'm keeping an eye on your comments though.
Yes, and I've been chuckling at them as they go.
We did need Black Trumbo. R.I.P. Black Trumbo.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So the following scene we get after Cole's death is Daemon's bros are fed up in the gold cloaks and are like,
they said, how did someone break in here, kill all of the main officers, and set them up like this? That seems really strange. I'm highly concerned. Yeah.
and we're all quitting.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you can't quit. I promise I'll pay you at some point.
The lackadaisical way in which Damon takes this, like where he's just like, "You guys are going to be cowards about it." Damon, someone broke into the police station, killed the police, and set them up in a display.
Yeah.
That's a problem, man. You got to do
Right.
something about that. You can't just be like, don't have a tiny, you have a tiny dick. Like you can't. No, you have to like
Yeah.
say some way you're going to protect these people. Come on.
This is also a thing where like Damon to me is like a bit he's been all over the place.
Mhm.
And they're doing this thing where it's like the kinder, gentler Damon, right? But only in specific moments
Mhm.
of he's been to therapy, but he's not, fully self-actualized yet. And
Yeah.
but in season 1, he literally brings people who have sailed to Dragonstone to be Rhaenyra's Queensguard. He takes
Mhm.
them up a mountain and puts them in front of Caraxes and is like, are you going to be loyal? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
so I don't know that I'm buying Damon accepting resignation letters. Like,
Right.
I don't care how bad shit is. He'd be like, "Oh, you're quitting? Cool." Kick the guy's knee out and cut his head off, right?
Mhm.
And then be like, "Anybody else quitting?"
Mhm.
Um,
You're
because
you're
and
committing
I
you're
get,
committing tre you're committing treason against the Dragon House. This is not at
yeah,
will employment. You
yeah,
know, you're not gonna give your 2 weeks and I'm gonna give you benefits for 6 months. Like, no, that's not how this
yeah.
works.
I that just struck me as odd. Like, I get the idea of if he's in that small council meeting or whatever and being like, plus a bunch of fucking gold cloaks just deserted,
Right.
right? Like, they're
Deserted,
gone.
different. Yeah.
That
Mhm.
would be fine. Like, yeah, they fucking hit the bricks and they left and I can't find them. Them going
Mhm.
up to Damon and being like, no, I fucking quit. Like, this is
Yeah.
bullshit. It's be like, what? I don't buy that.
No.
Because I was like, oh, Damon's about to get violent again. And
Mhm.
then that didn't happen, and he just like is sad that they're leaving.
No, but he did
Um,
lean. Remember, Damon's a leaner. He likes to
he
lean
is
on
a
things.
leaner. He
He
does
leaned
love
on
to
the
lean.
table.
And so this this causes him to be like, um this causes him, well, he gives this little speech, whatever, and then he accepts their resignations and they leave.
Mhm.
Um we get what, a small council scene.
Yeah, and it's a kind of the wheel spinny, like the gold cloaks are leaving, the people are hungry. What about Tumbleton again? Said someone.
Yeah. And
Uh,
then it's like the Baratheons are here.
right. Oh, so much random shit happens in this episode. The Baratheons are here, but not the right Baratheons. Like
Mhm.
different Baratheons are here. Uh, and Rhaenyra is like, where's the main guy? And they're like, super sorry, it's just us.
Yeah. Oh, this actually gives me a platform to talk about a thing that's annoyed me about this season as well. So,
Okay.
Boris Baratheon is off in Dorne fighting the Vulture King,
Yes.
which Vulture King, it's one of these like moments in House of the Dragon where they kind of dig into the lore and actually include stuff from the lore.
Mm.
Um, that they didn't make up. It's from the source material, right?
Yeah.
And Boris Baratheon actually does this, where he chooses the Civil War as the time to go invade Mexico. Like, that's
Yeah.
where he's like, he's like, I don't know what you guys are up to. I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And so, uh, what annoys me about this is when people get really worked up. It's like when Syvas was depicted in
Hmm.
the Daron Ormond scene, in maybe episode 4 or 5,
Hmm.
and people will sort of comment on the stuff of like, I love that they include this lore stuff or whatever, but it feels very like, I get upset when surface level stuff, like a reference or a visual depiction of something, is included when the rest of the actual narrative being told is like totally detached from the lore and the sort, like, right, where
Yeah.
it's like it feels fan servicey and like sort of a way to be like, no, see, like we're still sprinkling it in.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I know what you, because
we're
they,
completely doing our own thing, but like I promise we're still like connected to the world and the lore because we're sprinkling it
Mhm.
in every once in a while.
It feels like theft.
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So it's almost like, like
It
they,
almost makes it worse where it's like,
right.
don't try to like distract me with Vulture King references to get me all worked up about the fact that,
Yeah.
there's been multiple Vulture Kings and all this. It's like I'm having to do the work again of like
Mhm.
of keeping me in universe and all that sort of stuff and not get
Mhm.
like detached. Anyways, that's kind of how I'm like,
No, I
it
agree with you.
frustrates me.
That's actually like, I'm glad you articulated that because I think that's some of my feelings about different things where I get like suddenly very angry about something and I don't understand that anger. Uh, like I think it's this episode where there's a scene of Silverwing and Vermithor like snuggling, and I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
ah, we'll get there.
which is coming
Uh,
up, I think, actually. It's not
oh,
that far away.
okay.
Um
But yeah, the
yes,
small council
it's actually the next scene.
okay, so the reason that bothered me, and this is maybe a broader issue as well, this the show cannot decide whether dragons are magic and there is a magical bond or not.
Hmm.
Because on the one hand, the show did things like in season one, it depicted Rhaenyra's stillbirth as like a magic dragon baby. It was kind of hard to see on
Yes.
screen, but they actually did make a prop of like a dragon fetus. So like in show canon, she in fact gave birth to a quote unquote dragon baby. Um,
Hmm.
and in the show canon, you do in fact need to have magic Targaryen blood of some quantum, I suppose, to ride a dragon. Like they've done these things that like endorse the magical bond aspect. On the other hand, we've seen multiple dragons just not listen to their writers.
Right.
So what kind of bond are we? What magical bond? You
Yeah.
know, and
Well, and
the
is it like, sorry, no, go keep going.
well, and so part of the magical bond question is, well, how intelligent are dragons really? Like, what are we dealing with? And if you show something like two dragons being like emotionally connected to each other and doing like a human type thing, like cuddling, that implies like a higher level of intelligence. Whereas, you know, that kind of stuff is never described in text. Um, uh, actually, no, that's incorrect. There's a few times where there's something similar to that described in text, but never like to that extent.
Hmm.
Um, but uh, whereas on the other hand, like with absent those kind of behaviors, and given what we see of the dragon, the actual dragon behavior in the show, they seem to be much more akin to like other domesticated animals,
Right.
as opposed to magical beings that have like a high intelligence. And
Mhm.
so when the two of them are cuddling, I'm like, the people of Westeros think Vermithor and Silverwing are in love because they were the dragons of the king and queen who ruled for 60 years.
Right.
And they projected the human relationship onto the dragons.
Yeah.
There is very little, if no evidence, that Vermithor and Silverwing had a relationship other than like that
Right.
they were dragons near each other, you know?
Right.
So I
Maybe like
just
a
like,
familiarity, if nothing else, of like
yeah.
they flew together a lot, right? So it's like they would
But
be
even then,
comfortable.
they were separated lots of times for long periods of times. I mean,
Yeah.
there are two different quarrels where Alysanne left King's Landing and said, "Fuck you, bro," and went and lived on Dragonstone for years.
Hmm.
It's like she left Jaehaerys twice because he was
Yeah.
a douche.
Yeah.
And it was so it's one of those things where I saw it and I'm like, okay, are they highly intelligent and magical? Or are they basically a horse? Which
Right.
one? Which one is it? And so the two of them canoodling and like smiling, I'm like, I'm gonna lose. I'm like losing my mind.
Especially the other thing where I find this like to be really confusing, right? Is we've seen dragons in this show disobey their riders to attack other dragons and
Yep.
eat other dragons,
Yep.
which is not a natural, like, sort of instinct, I would imagine, right? Like in that you would find in most like animals, which again like suggests that they must be higher intelligence and they have a human penchant for violence against like their own kind, which is not necessarily an instinct of many animals, right? Like with no provocation attacking an animal of its own kind. Anyways, that is not like a natural prey or something like that. So like that's also a bit of an inconsistency in that, like, we see Vhagar for no, like, against Aemon's wishes,
just chomps, just as a snack,
kills, Lucerys and Arax, and then Sheepstealer spends the Battle of the Gullet trying to kill other dragons. And to me, that's another area where it's like, okay, what, like, are they naturally competitive where they must kill each other? Like
when Caraxes is near Sheepstealer, Caraxes is like, whoa, we got to go check this out. And Caraxes and Sheepstealer are like, standing off in the cave and stuff like that. Like,
like if the human doesn't have control, why are the dragons fighting? Like, I just don't really understand, unless they have an understanding of what war is and who all of the personalities are involved in this.
They have politics.
Yeah. Right. Like that to me, it's the Drogon, like Drogon is melting the Iron Throne because he understands what metaphor is. Like,
yes.
Like that's kind of like you said, do they have some like higher tier of intelligence where they can truly like make independent decisions that are like not just instinctual but intellectual,
or are they
or are they just animals?
Are they like a dog on a leash that like understands a few words and like can sometimes do a few commands, iffy, and maybe they're not all dog friendly and they don't like each other,
Yeah, maybe they do attack each other. Like maybe they're
but then why, if that's the case, if they're just a mystical animal, like a fictional animal in this universe, then you don't need fancy blood to ride them. But this the canon of the show embraces you need fancy blood to ride them.
Yeah. When they keep really hammering home the idea that dragons were created by the Valyrians, which like I also don't think that's a thing, right? No. Like dragons in there, the magic and the binding, it's like how much of that was just Valyrian propaganda bullshit of they just were taming animals. They wanted everybody to who they enslaved to believe that they had magical control of these beings.
Very important. It's very important that the people that rule over the slaves, of which there are a lot more slaves than you. It's very important that those slaves never even think that maybe they can ride your dragons. Yep. It's very important. Yeah. No, I mean, you know me. I'm a big dragons are magic kind of gal.
Yeah. I'm also thinking that like if they are animals who just aren't dragon friendly, like I'm curious why, like, because in the Freehold, in theory, there were at one point hundreds, thousands of dragons probably, between these 40 families, like at least hundreds, right, of dragons at the height of the Valyrian Empire. You would think like the aggression towards other dragons, one, would be bad, like for business, if you're like riding dragons into war and they just start killing each other and not the enemy. But so you would think they would kind of breed out the like aggression towards other dragons, but apparently we got what we got.
There was just there were a lot of lawyers in Valyria that specialized in dragon bite cases, and just that was litigated constantly in civil court. They made a lot of money, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So we get this nuzzle, but then we get Ulf and Hugh are doing shift change at the hill overlooking Templeton. And
because it's very important that they're there to
do nothing. They're
Yep.
not impeding. They're not doing any impeding of any of the traffic into Templeton, except for the one guy that Ulf probably kills, or sorry, that Hugh probably kills when he disguises himself as that person.
Instead of saying
Um,
like, "Hey, can I ride on your wagon?"
or hey, like my dragon is going to babysit you, and if you try to do anything,
Yeah.
Irma will eat you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, yeah, the whole that was a bit. So he just they're just overwatching the city, but they're not doing anything. Like they have complete control of Templeton if they want, and they just are choosing to do nothing.
Yeah. The show has really, and like maybe we could talk about this more at the end. We'll talk about pacing. The show has really made this contrive this problem of Templeton that like the high towers are there and I can't do anything because I'll be burning my own civilians. And some people at one point are like, yeah, dragons, which are like notoriously good at aiming. And I'm like, no, but they are notoriously good at what do you, yeah, they're like drones. They are.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
They're only not good at aiming in the one episode of the show that everybody of the bad dragon show that everybody hates.
Right. I'm
Like
like that.
I
I'm
thought
like,
y'all hated that episode.
you could take your dragons, fly to Tumbleton, kill the one dragon, eat Ormond, and then congratulations, you have Tumbleton, a tiny town that I'm pretty sure doesn't even have a castle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and this is where the Tumbleton stuff again like changes from adaptation. Like the reason that Tumbleton happens the way that it all happens has way less to do like as it stands, yes, it wouldn't make sense for what happens with Templeton. Like if they tried to do what happens in the book, in the show, with the exact set of circumstances that they've established in the show up till now, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense because they haven't spent enough time getting to the point where what happens at Templeton 1 is possible. But Templeton 1 is important because Templeton 2, which I think they're going to do Templeton 2 in the show, Templeton 1, like Templeton 2 happens because Templeton 1 happened.
Right.
Like that's the like you need the first one to have the second one.
I mean,
And
I
the
have
reason
a
that they're
theory.
having to contrive stuff is because they need the circumstances of Templeton 2 without actually doing Templeton 1.
Well,
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe that's where they'll end the season is Templeton, the actual, like actually a battle at Templeton. I have a theory about what I think they're going to do with
Yeah.
it. We can talk about it at the end so as to not include spoilers in the middle. Yeah, so they do shift change. And then is this when Ulf goes into the city?
Yeah, Ulf sneaks in and tries to he finds his wife in this city, which I think is insane because this is like how could he possibly find her?
He checks her location on a local Raven and sees her location.
Unless he's been to Templeton and her brother's house, maybe that's the implication is that he's literally been to Kat's brother's house before and knows his way around Templeton. That seems a little bit of a stretch, but anyways, he goes in and I'm curious what you thought of this because Hugh is like, good news, I got a dragon, like we can get the fuck out of here. And she's like, no, I'm not going with you, like you abandoned me.
The conversation is so poorly written. It may very well have been one of the interns that wrote this conversation. Because she starts with, I thought you were dead. Which,
right.
If she genuinely thought her husband was dead. Now, this is a woman who the very first episode we engage their daughter dies. Do you remember when they had a kid? They certainly don't.
No,
they
have forgotten about their child.
No, never mentioned. Her daughter dies. Then she thinks her husband dies. Then her brother dies. I mean, this is a woman who, in a very short time period, has gone through a lot of close family loss, like the most traumatic loss you can face. Your child, your husband, your sibling. Like now she is like alone in this strange place, trying not to continue to be the subject of assault, and has apparently been the subject of assault per her own report. So she's like for her husband to appear and to be alive. I just found the rest of the conversation didn't make a lot of sense because she goes from like, oh my God, you're alive. Like I thought you were dead to I'm blaming you for abandoning me. And I mean, I get the point she's trying to make, which is like, I didn't
Yeah.
need you to have a dragon. I needed you to like be with me to protect me because I now have been victimized in all these ways because I didn't
Right.
have you. It was just the dialogue was so poor.
That's
And
yeah.
it was hard to feel very much for it because the dialogue was so poor and because I don't know, I on the other hand, I'm sort of like I get being mad at him and all that. That's great, but now he does in fact have a dragon.
Right.
So maybe we be mad at him on the dragon and go elsewhere from this place where you are vulnerable. You know, like now you're living in Templeton and have no one.
Right.
So like there is like a logical place to go from here, but these are not characters that have been well developed.
Right.
So I don't know if that would be her reaction or if she would be too proud and say, like, no, you abandoned me. I'm not going with you. I don't care what you have.
Right.
She's had, I want to say, maybe 15 lines of dialogue for the entire show.
Sure.
So, and maybe that's because we shouldn't be adding extra random side characters to a show that already has a giant cast that we don't have enough time for.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's funny that of all the characters, like Hugh gets a wife when like they've also cut like noble wives such as Ormond's, right? Like,
yeah.
and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that she's a character, but the idea that Ormond, again, Ormond is a problematic bachelor in this show when he's a married lord because like the fuck
Of
do you
course
mean
he
the
would be.
Lord of the Hightower isn't
Yes.
fucking married? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Like,
This whole system that is based on inheritance. Yeah, that
he
one.
needs
Yeah.
to have a boy kid. That's like the whole thing that's going
Mhm.
on right now. I don't know if you heard about the war.
Yeah.
About a person not having a boy kid.
Right.
The system crumbles under its own weight at that point, apparently. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, I just think it's weird that Hugh got a wife when, like, she's being added to provide Hugh motivation for what happens, like, well, and spoilers for House of the Dragon / Fire and Blood, but like,
Mhm.
they have set Ulf's Turncloak moment up, right?
Mhm.
Because he's being treated like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And like, I actually kind of like the fact that Ulf has gotten a reason to turn that isn't just like, I'm a greedy little peasant who isn't
Mhm.
grateful for what he's been given, right? Like,
Mhm.
he is being treated like dog shit.
Mhm.
And I do actually like that. But they were like, how do we get this like honorable Hugh Hammer to turn, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, he gets spurned by his wife and now he's gonna kill her, I assume. Like, I don't know. So anyways, I think
I don't know.
I thought the conversation like you said was maybe a little bit clunky.
Mhm.
I don't I think there were a lot of people who were like, she's so ungrateful
Mhm.
and this is
No.
bullshit. Whatever. He was just doing
Yeah.
it for her. It's like, okay, well, she has also suffered, right?
Right.
Like,
Like his
and it's
actions
okay for
had
her to be,
consequences for her. So that's like fair for her to be mad about that. Yeah.
yeah. It just, to me, I'm like, did they not talk about the fact, like, he didn't say like, hey, I'm going to the dragon pit to get a dragon? Because
Right.
an awesome scene would have been, and maybe I'm just forgetting, maybe this happened in season 2, maybe I just forgot, I don't know.
Mhm.
But I feel like what would have been awesome is a scene where he was like, they are calling for dragon seeds. Like, I have this lineage.
Mhm.
I am going to go get a dragon and change our lives. And
Mhm.
her being like, no, the fuck you're not. We are going to Tumbleton with my
Mhm.
brother. Don't be delusional. You'll get yourself killed. Like, I need you. Right.
Mhm.
He goes up there, gets it, and is like, at that point making the decision of, I am leaving you in favor of going to get a dragon.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's
Like, but I am
they
doing this, but I am doing this for you. Right.
they
Like
have a
that
scene
scene.
they have a scene in season 2 where he tells her he thinks he's Targaryen, but
Right.
I don't know that they have like a full conversation about it.
And that's the
You
thing
know?
is like, I think if they had that exact scene, it makes this conversation make exact sense where she's
Right.
like, no,
Yeah.
you made your choice. You
Mm-hmm.
chose the dragon. Like I'm relieved to see you alive, and you
Mm-hmm.
left me when I needed you. Right.
Right.
And it would have just felt more complete in
Yeah.
terms of, okay, we got the setup and we got the payoff
I think
of
I
Kat's character
mm-hmm.
not accepting, because it's like, if you're, in a vacuum, if your husband goes and gets a dragon and you are a peasant, why the fuck would you not leave on the dragon?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
um
No, I completely agree. I think it's and I think part of the problem here is like, why am I getting this attempt at an arc in a season that is 8 episodes
again,
when we
yeah,
have so much to do?
yeah,
there's so much more to do. And I get like it's not that it's not a story worth telling, like it might be, but it's not the main story. It's a side character to a side character. And I I just
they
I
also
I'm
they also could still accomplish what they want by giving someone else the decision, right? So like, let's say, for example, a battle starts at Tumbleton, and
mhm,
Rhaenyra gives them the orders to attack Tumbleton. And
mhm,
Hugh is like, I can't, my wife is there. And she's like, cool, if you're interested in dying, let me know, because I'll go find another fucking rider for Vermithor who will do what I say. Right.
mhm,
Like, in her moment of like rage, whatever, she's like fucking over it.
mhm.
And he goes to Tumbleton and turns cloak because he doesn't want to harm his wife.
Yeah, I could
Right.
see
Like,
that. That could be a way to do it. Yeah.
where it wouldn't, he thinks she's there, they haven't spoken, right? Like, so
Mhm,
you can still use this sort of thing that you've set up without having to do the whole conversation that you haven't really like
mhm.
done enough groundwork for it to hit in the way that you want it to. But
My theory on what the show, since we're talking about Templeton, my theory about what the show is
yes,
going to do is that I think they'll have Hugh and Ulf fight each other. That
interesting.
Ulf will turn, and Hugh will be kind of, ooh, I don't know what to do.
Labeled.
Yeah, and then you introduce Tessarion into that, and
Mhm.
all together now we all do dragon death. So that's what I think they're setting up. But I like your version too. Actually, the idea that like he won't attack Templeton because his wife is there. Uh,
Right.
this all again assuming that you have to like do full scale dragon battle at the town to win.
Hmm.
Like my friends, in the books, the people that do full scale dragon battle at the town are the Greens. They are the
Right.
ones who do the war crime.
Yeah.
They are the ones that do the war crime. There's never a question of if the blacks are going to do the war crime. The Greens just do the war crime. So,
And then
like,
it turns into,
that's Tumbleton 1.
yeah.
And then Tumbleton 2 is even worse. So it just is like,
Yeah.
alas.
Well, and yeah, there's also the whole thing. We'll talk about Daron a little more in a bit.
Mhm.
So we get uh the scene of Alicent um we get the scene of Alicent and Helena are actually fine. So there's no problem.
Yep.
I don't know, no confirmation yet on whether the cat is fine that was in there with them, but
No.
um but yeah, Rhaenyra, they're brought to Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is pissed off that they decided to leave,
Rightly so.
but doesn't take any action. And Alicent volunteers the information that Helena is pregnant.
Yep.
I found this to be nuts.
Yeah. That I
Because
didn't
like,
understand.
why would Rhaenyra, like, there's no reason for Rhaenyra to allow a potential heir for Aegon be born.
Mhm.
Like, there's just simply no way, right? Like, I don't know.
And I like the dialogue in the scene. So this is the thing about this fucking show. There are these discrete scenes. There are these
Yeah.
discrete scenes where I'm like, man, I just wish this was in a different television show, because I liked their conversation here,
Yes.
where Rhaenyra is like, well, what do you want me? She's like, what do you want me to do? She's like, I was trying to be nice about it, and you now you've tried to escape several times, and now I can't. Now I have to keep her locked up. And Alicent's like, no, you can't keep Helena locked up. She's magical and has prophecies and stuff. And Rhaenyra's like, she's like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're my prisoner. And she says, to my court, you're a traitor or the green or whatever. And Alicent says, and to you. And then Rhaenyra leaves, and I'm like, huh. Rumor on the street is that they're going to kiss. So if they kiss, all is forgiven. But yeah, just spilling the beans, being like, Helena's pregnant, by the way. Like, whoa, but
yeah. I mean, I guess she's sort of like trying to lean on Rhaenyra's mercy, but this is and this is kind of the whole thing, right? Is Alicent's been banging on about how the throne will change Rhaenyra and she won't be the same person and she'll do stuff that she can't even believe or whatever. But she, in these moments, is still expecting Rhaenyra to be the same person that was her friend 20 years ago.
And Rhaenyra is still being her friend, because Rhaenyra is not like, I'm just going to execute you. Or, I guess I have to execute Helena. Rhaenyra is not even like, I'm going to hold her down and force her to drink moon tea. That's the easiest way out of this.
Right.
Like, you don't get a choice. This is not a pro-choice state. You're going to get an abortion now. Like, that's the easiest. That would be the easiest way. But she's just like, I'm going to keep you in smaller rooms. And Alicent's like, how could you do this to us? Like,
yeah, what a... It's like, you have tried to escape 1,000 times.
Right.
So, yeah. But no, I mean, like you said, there are scenes of the show that are like, the dialogue in it is good. And I do like the stuff that's being explored. It's just as part of the larger whole. It just doesn't stand up.
Yeah.
So then we get a very short Alan and Corlys scene, because Alan's bright idea at the small council is, I'll go get Valarians to be the city watch. And Corlys is like, oh, and now she wants my help again, whatever. And Alan's like, no, this was my idea. And then Corlys like sets himself up to be owned by
the best owned.
Oh, well, she won't legitimize you. And it's like, well, yeah, neither did you, Dad, you dickhead. So it's again, it's like a bit of a strange one, just because I'm like, yeah, we know, like, did we need that scene between Alan and Corlys for the 15th time, talking about how he wasn't around as a dad? Like, I don't know. Like, he was really an absentee father.
It really is copy paste at this point. But at least Alan said that what we were all thinking when Corlys lost his goddamn mind in episode 3, yelling at Rhaenyra about how like her kids are bastards in like the open in King's Landing. It's a good thing that didn't have any consequences. He's like, I can't believe she won't recognize you. And Alan's like, neither did you for like until like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. So like, until you needed me, you didn't recognize me either. And it's like, yeah, this whole tension, this is stupid. This is all dumb.
Yeah.
Because Corlys is in the question mark forest chasing down the Triarchy.
Yeah. The pirates who I'm assuming washed ashore following the Battle of the Gullet, and then decided to just start. They are attacking.
Invade Westeros.
They're just attacking stuff. It's not clear where or how exactly. They just are here, and yeah, they decided to invade Westeros because they washed ashore.
Yeah.
And
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm also I think things are, the geography is really starting to come apart.
I want to say, and we could talk about this more in terms of pacing as well. I could really use a map. I could really use someone at a battlefield with a map and figurines. I think that would actually have been very beneficial to all this, because right now they're just in, as far as I can tell, the same forest. I think they probably shoot the Kristen Cole scenes over here, and then pivot the camera and shoot the Corlys scenes over here. It just appears to be one forest from different angles.
Like when I'm shooting a TikTok skit and I'm two different people by just turning a different direction.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So yeah, as Gail says, he's fighting the pirate cartel somewhere on the coast.
It's the pirate
and
cartel.
this is again where they say names of places, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, show me that on a map. Like that
I
being
want
like near
Ryan
Maidenpool, and I'm like,
I want Ryan Condal right now with a blank map of Westeros to show me where Maidenpool is. Do it.
Show me where Maidenpool is.
Show me where Maidenpool is.
In relation to where the characters are right now, because I swear to God, like that's so because in the next scene we get we didn't talk about the fact that Tywin Lannister is alive. Tywin Lannister
how
somehow
could we
returned.
forget something so important?
And he is digging a grave for
that guy.
He's
Aegon
digging a
stabbed.
grave for Janos, the guy that Aegon stabbed. And they're having this like philosophical, basically Aegon is doing for maybe the first time ever in his life, he is trying to make an informed decision based on what he knows about the people who he's with. And essentially he ends up making the decision that he's going to go to Essos because that's Larys Strong's decision, and Larys called him a fucking piece of shit in the last episode. And Tyland is being like deferential and not telling him the whole truth, and doesn't say it like, oh, we all have our ups and downs or whatever. And so he trusts Larys, and Aegon makes a decision to go to Essos in the end. Now
Tyland's plan is also like really not feasible because he's like, let's go to Casterly Rock and like regroup, and I'm like, you're gonna walk from Forest near King's Landing to the other side of Westeros,
right,
to Casterly Rock, or you're gonna get into a boat right here and go to Essos. Like that, do that. Yeah.
And all 14 of the green soldiers that were left are dead or captured now, like in the Riverlands. So you're
exactly.
Yeah. Also, does Tywin know that his brother is dead? I don't know that he could possibly know that his brother Jason is dead.
Right. Jason gets decapitated? Question mark.
Yeah, and Roddy Dustin tosses his head unceremoniously. Speaking of unceremonious deaths of characters that have gotten like a decent amount of screen time, Jason Lannister.
Do we know, is that actually a set of twins that play Jason and Tyland, or is it just the same guy doing the parent
trap? It's a guy. It's a guy who plays both.
That's great.
Yeah. And then we get the Vale. So they're just really intent on making Jane Eyre a psychopath.
They're just
because we do what is it when the audio from a scene fades in before the actual visual from a scene, a J cut or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
anyways,
I forget what it's called. Yeah,
we hear a person being thrown from the moon door, and then we are shown Jane Eyre and a lackey walking away from the moon door, and her saying something about like that always is entertaining, or it's always fascinating, or never ceases to fascinate me, or whatever.
Can I take just one moment to complain about the moon door in the television show?
Sure.
The moon door in the books is literally a door on the side of the room. That's a weirwood door. Weirwood's important for a lot of reasons. That you open the door and there's nothing on the other side, so they push people out. That makes sense because the castle's on a mountain.
Yes.
How can you open the floor and there be there's no air below the It's not, a mountain.
It's not Howl's Floating Castle.
It's a mountain. Doesn't make any sense. That's a design decision from Game of Thrones season 1 that even then was stupid. And it's like, oh, it's so cool. It's a hole in the floor. How?
Right.
It's not like you can have a castle that has like the main center room of it is like what, slightly off the mountain?
Right.
It's made of stone.
It's built on 4 peaks. The 4 corners touch the ground, and the middle floats.
if you look up the picture, because this would drive me, if you look up the picture of the Eyrie from the show design, because they show it from a distance a couple times, it literally is like several mountains coming together and a castle between. The architectural nightmare that is the TV show's castle. I can't.
And there's there's plenty of stuff that's like a little bit magical and crazy, right? Like a gigantic ice wall and the size of some of the castles and stuff, but it's not like we made rocks float in the air.
But it would be a different thing too if it was like the legend of the Eyrie is that the magic of the children lifted it up to the magic, that would have been fine. And I just and it would be one thing if there was like a chasm, maybe like there were like two mountains that came together and there's like a crevasse or whatever. But when you look through the moon door in the show, it's just sky. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway, I just needed to cook on that for a second. But yeah, I don't know why they're making Jane Eyre crazy.
I mean, she's nuts.
All women are crazy? Maybe? I don't know.
So she executes someone and then turns around and Rhaena is brought before her for some reason.
Well, because off screen, apparently, based on this conversation.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Rhaena went close to Moondancer. And and Jane Eyre knows that because she has the dragon equipped with a GPS device.
Right.
And
she put an air tag on.
Yeah, she put an air tag on. And she's mad about that because what if Rhaena was seen?
Right. And she strikes Rhaena.
Slaps her across the face. Yep.
Which, like, I get that they're in her castle or whatever, and none of these like Vale men are going to, tattle on the Lady of the Vale or whatever. Rhaena has a fucking dragon.
A fucking dragon. You know who could be the Lady of the Vale in 0.5 seconds? Rhaena. Because she could say, like, I'm gonna eat this real quick. And then guess what? New Lady of the Vale. Boom, done.
Like, I just don't understand why, like, beyond the weirdness of Jane Eyre is literally a descendant of Rhaenyra's mom. Right? Like, or not descendant, like they're related, right? They're related, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's like a niece or something like that.
Jaehaerys and Alicent's one of their youngest children went to the Vale and had Emma. I'm not sure where Jane Eyre comes from, but they are related. There's Targaryen blood there.
Right. And like Emma Arryn is literally Rhaenyra's mom.
Yeah.
They're book,
very close.
Rhaenyra's sigil includes the falcon, like the Arryn falcon in her quartered sigil.
Yeah.
As a nod to her mother.
Yep.
And her connection to the Vale. Like, there is literally no like sensible reason for Jane Eyre to be acting like a psycho towards someone in Rhaenyra's family. Even someone who is, whatever, Daemon's child from a previous marriage. Like, there is no reason for her to threaten that alliance. And there's also no reason for her to want to.
The real problem is there's no reason for us to be here in the first place, right? So like by the time we get to episode 6, like the damage is done, right? The original,
why are we here?
The original sin has happened, which was the cutting of Nettles and the replacing of Nettles with Rhaena, and like none of this can make sense because of the predecessor writing, right? Like there's no way to. Jane Eyre, it doesn't make any sense that Jane Eyre's like this is like one of those like miscommunication trope things. Like Rhaena could easily just go to court with Sheepstealer and be like, hey, I was trying to help in the Battle of the Gullet. I fucked up. My bad, but I'm here to help. And Rhaenyra wouldn't kill her. Rhaenyra would be like, yikes, I understand what happened. Yay, we have another dragon, like she wouldn't be like, you must die now.
She might be like pissed and react like angrily, at
I don't
first,
even
or
know
like
if
you
she'd be angry, if she would be sad, because she
right,
knows Reina.
right.
You know, did
And that's
she's
it. And thank you, Gail, in the chat for the Rhaenyra and Jane are cousins, which is
yes.
that is helpful. Like
Hmm.
in that, yes, they are like very close.
Yeah.
And like I said, like the the respect for Emma Aaron and all this stuff. And so to your point, a lot of what was said about the I can't even call it the you can't even really call it the merging of Nettles and Reyna at this
It's
point
not.
because it
No.
is just Reyna claiming sheep stealer and getting a different story
Yeah.
than is in the books because she also they're like, oh, they're going to give Nettles story to Reyna. They have also not done that.
This is not
Like
Nettle's story. No.
they are keeping Reyna in the veil. I think it was Felly, a good friend of ours who was also
Hmm.
has been on the show previously. But I think it was Felly on TikTok talked about the fact that she is like literally just undergoing a humiliation ritual at this point. Like there
Hmm.
is no like Reyna is not doing any Nettles stuff
Hmm.
aside from she had a conversation with Damon.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like
been several creators on TikTok. Now, Felly is one of them. I don't know the other names off the top of my head, but several Black women on TikTok have commented on this. Very like,
I know Princess Weeks is one,
yes,
Rinstar is another one.
yeah, Ren Star's done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's been
yeah,
a number, and so like they go into a lot of detail about this. I would highly recommend their videos.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
basically, like what you're talking about, like the humiliation ritual, that there's this problem with this television show and with HBO in general, where they cast Black actors to play characters, good concept, and then they do stuff like this,
Right.
where you're hurting the Black body on screen, right?
Yeah.
They had a similar problem in season one that I flagged at the time, which is that they kept hurting gay bodies on screen. In
True.
season one, there was like a number of times when they did that.
I mean,
And
Joffrey Lonmouth gets beat to death by
yeah,
Kristen Cole.
there were a lot. There was like a
Yeah.
surprising number. Um, and HBO, by the way, did the same thing to Black bodies on screen in the first season of The Last of Us. In the first season of The Last of Us, they have, I think it was they had like, I think it was 7 Black characters, 6 of whom died on screen. Like only 1 Black character lived in
Right.
that first season. Um, so like, when we're talking about representation, like it's not just a matter of like increasing diversity, like that's step one, but then
Sure.
you have to think about like, well, what is this going to look like on screen for me to do? What is
Yeah.
the implication of this going to be going forward? And the taking the illogic of the Reina plot, like also completely undermines like her position as a princess. And it's like, why doesn't she get to be a Targaryen princess? And like, if you want her to claim Sheepstealer, go ahead and give her Nettles' story. Have her just be the rider of Sheepstealer, and then she could be with the court, and she could and just do that. And if you
Right.
really want her to be in and around the Vale, you could have Rhaenyra send her there and say, "I need you to go protect, the Eyrie." And she could go. Maybe she has like a bad time with Jane Eyre. I don't fucking know, but it's been it's not been a fun thing to watch, and it's illogical. It's not adding to the story. It's not character.
Yeah.
Like, what am I watching this for?
Right. Well, and what is the payoff of all this going to be? Because like I can tell you right now that if like like what should happen based on what they've established is sheep stealers should burn the Eyrie
Mhm.
based on what they've done to Reyna.
Yep. Yeah.
But that can't happen. Like that just simply
No.
can't be what the story is. So like what the fuck are we watching this for? And
Mhm.
we just got a whole television show in which striking a member of the royal family was a like very bad thing to do.
We did.
And
I
yet this
remember that
person
show.
and yet this person who's very well versed in those sorts of rules and would know that striking a princess is simply not acceptable. Why the hell did Jane Eyre feel comfortable? And this goes back to your broader point about just Black actors and Black people being cast and Black
Mhm.
characters being added, but them not being thoughtful about it.
Mhm.
Why did we get Jane Eyre slapping Princess Reyna? Like that's
Mhm.
fucking insane. Like
Mhm.
it's just not one, it wouldn't be done. Like two, it's not how Jane's characterized like at any point in the books, right? Like, but in this, she's just, and this maybe brings me to the Sabbath of Frey conversation, only because so they minus Sabbath of Frey, but they still decide to include Lady Frey in the show because they make the Freys, rather than making it Forest Frey. I think Forest Frey is the Lord, and Sabbatha, I believe,
forget
is
the
his wife,
names.
but they are like young people who fight in the war in the book. And it is sort of like, you know, George sometimes does this where he makes characters in these houses who are nothing like the characters from the main series, because it's interesting to explore the fact that like these houses aren't monoliths. They, you know, just because Walder Frey's a fucking dickhead in the series does not mean that his ancestors were also dickheads, like in the same way. And so he makes this like, you know, this young, lively Frey warrior who goes out, he's active in the war, he doesn't hide at the twins, he doesn't like none of the things that you expect from a Frey. The show does this whole thing with the Freys where they make them older and make them demand a toll from the Black's army, like going south, right? Like, oh, if these Northmen want to cross, they gotta, and it is this like greedy Frey thing where it's like, oh no, we're not doing the characters, we're doing like the do you remember Game of Thrones?
Exactly, because people can only be one thing.
And so
remember when Jamie Lannister ended the bad show loving Cersei?
Yes.
People cannot change. They can only be one thing, including their whole family is one thing.
Yeah. And so it's really frustrating when they are doing with Jane Eyre, they are doing Lysa. They're doing Lysa Tully. Like they're just doing this like paranoid, this paranoid, cruel woman is ruling this castle, right? Because that's what you know about the Arryns, is there's a cruel lady who lives here, right? Like who's kind of unhinged and treats a sympathetic female character like shit, like Lysa does to Sansa. So just like doing it again, and I don't understand why, because to me it's far more interesting if you make a character who they always love to subvert my expectations by being like, here's Forrest Frey, and it's like a hunk, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I would love that.
Where it's like the Lord of the Twins, and you're expecting like a doddering old man, and it's this dude in like armor who comes out ready, like, let's go fuck shit up or whatever, you know. And like,
you're right. Same thing.
And here's my lesbian wife.
Yeah. Oh, we all want a lesbian wife. I mean, same thing with Jane Eyre. You could have done the very, like, you know, Rhaenyra's going to the Vale, and Rhaenyra could tell her, like, this is very important. Like, you need to help with politicking, etc., yada, yada, you know, and really get them on the fold. And like, this is a very important job for you. Jane Eyre's formidable, whatever. And then she gets there, and Jane Eyre, who has been ruling in her own right as the Lady of the Vale for all this time, sees a really promising young woman who's like, has a natural political savvy, and says, oh, I will take you under my wing. Like, I will teach you how to do this.
Right.
And it's really unfortunate too, because not only did they sacrifice Nettles' story, which has a lot of purpose on its own right, they also sacrificed Rhaeda's story, which is the politicking that women do in Westeros. And that's because the creators of this television show do not value that. They have consistently shown that they think that's boring. And they'd rather me spend multiple scenes watching Ormond Hightower smell things than show a woman doing politics. That's what they would rather do. Like they just don't, like, fundamentally don't understand how could a Targaryen princess in the Vale possibly be helpful? They just don't get it.
Yeah. We go to Harrenhal next. Alice and Aemond are in love now, question mark. And she says something about frogs sleeping under the ice in winter, and maybe Vhagar is hiding or something.
Again, are they magically bonded, or did your dog get out? and you need to report it to the local authorities, you know, like.
And Aemond's trying to leave, right? Because he's like, I have to go find Vhagar. Vhagar would not
Mhm.
like have left me.
Mhm.
So I have to go find her. And he's getting ready to leave, and like the one other person left alive in Harrenhal is the stable boy who Alice quickly kills. And I found this to be like really crazy because Alice's like whole thing, and maybe I'm like having a hallucination or something, but I could have swore Alice's like two things were I'm like into spooky weirwood magic, and I really care
About Harrenhal.
about like Harrenhal and like the people here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Aemond comes in and slaughters every single person in the castle, like to a man,
Yep.
right? And now Alice is also killing a random dude.
Well,
Um,
she stabbed him in the tummy with a different tummy dagger, I suppose. And he dropped immediately. Yeah,
right, yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I don't have strong feelings about Alice. I know some people do. Um, I don't. I don't. Uh,
Mm.
I do have strong feelings about her opening a box full of dragon eggs.
I just well, and this this is where okay. So number one, we talked about it. We talked about it over text, but
Yeah.
the Alyssa Farman erasure is really like
I just
Ryan
wait,
Condal.
can I just tell the audience when so frequently Phil's watching the episode after me and he will like stream of consciousness his thoughts as he's going and it is the most entertaining thing.
It's the only way for me to
Great.
like process what I'm watching without just like steam coming out of
Yeah.
my head like yeah, some cartoon. Um the weird thing about this is I do think that now that I've said a bunch of these things, because we have Alyssa Farman erasure,
Mhm.
um and now that I've said a bunch of these erasures like back to back to back, I'm like, does Ryan Condal have a problem with gay women? um because why are they all getting deleted? And
Oh, well, that is a good question.
and Reina, so they mentioned Reina as Cal's also pointed out in the chat, like, so they mentioned Reina, which again, this felt like I'm like, don't do that, like, stop,
Mhm.
because you're doing this as like a fan servicey thing, and I don't like it.
Mhm.
Um, you're not doing it for actual plot reasons of this story.
Mhm.
And the thing that really got me about this is one, it is now heavily implied that Aemond is going to play some like there's going to be some Aemond Daemon thing
Mhm.
with the God's Eye of these eggs getting to where they need to get so that Daenerys eventually ends up with three of them, right? Like I
But
think
we
that's what
already
they're
but the show
doing.
already established no, the show already established that the eggs sent with the kids in season 2 when they were sent away from Dragonstone were the eggs that become
Oh,
Daenerys's. So these are
but
other
like
eggs. These are just other.
but like what are these that I don't know. Are these a Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 12 eggs of Summerhall? Like what?
I don't know. I don't know if the actress playing Alice just happens to open a box that had eggs in it and someone said, "You know, it would be great. Let's shoot that." You know, I don't know because I saw people talking about that like these being Daenerys's eggs, but I'm like, no, they
They
already
did talk about that.
established
Yeah.
that
And they
and like that's
explicitly
also
talked about it.
wrong. You know, that's also
Yeah.
wrong. But
Right.
like,
Yeah.
eh,
They do a whole thing where Aemon, like the blood of the stable boy gets on the egg and Aemon feels it's warm or whatever.
oh, I did that. I missed. That's stupid.
And
That's dumb.
and it's hinting at like the blood sacrifice and all this other stuff. But they also do like a prophecy thing because everything like no one can have their own
Mhm.
motivations in the story. Like it must be driven by something external. Um and yeah, I just the Aemond Alice thing, I had issue with this because it made to me the fact that it became romantic in this episode made the fact that it made her attempted essay in the previous episode way, way worse, in my opinion.
Her attempted what?
Like the fact that she was attempted, like she had an attempted sexual assault against her.
Oh, essay. I thought you meant essay, like a written essay, and I was like,
Oh
she wrote an
yeah,
essay?
no, I mean, yeah, she probably did attempt an essay.
Yeah.
As well,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
I agree with.
because I'm
Like,
like
oh,
it
my
turning
savior.
romantic. Yeah, I really
Oh,
that made me feel icky.
yeah.
I didn't like that.
No, and
Because it's like, yeah, it again, like it turning romantic or whatever, big picture. My biggest question that I left this scene with is Alice like an ageless witch or not? Like what are we meant to think about her? Because
I
and
don't
in what
know.
way, like if she is like a witch, green seer, child of the forest, whatever the fuck, like whatever they want
Mhm.
us to believe, is she a goat that can change into a human? I don't know. But like whatever they want us to believe about her, I just don't understand why she then would be super into dragon lore.
I don't know. So I liked the idea they introduced early on in the season that Alice wants to be the Lady of Harrenhal.
Right.
That's where she lives and she's grown up and she cares about this particular castle and land and she wants to actually rule it, that she has aspirations for rule. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting interpretation of it because Alice in the book is not very well characterized, not surprisingly, because the Maester does not care about women and he does not characterize them. And the only thing the Maester can imagine is that Alice is having sex with both Damon and Aemond, because the
Right.
Maester said, well, a woman is here talking to a man. So clearly they must be romantically involved, right? Like that's all he can do.
The explanation.
That's the only explanation for the existence of a woman. And that's what the Maester thinks. So I really liked that she didn't have that relationship with Damon. And then now that she has it with Aemond, I'm like, I'm like, it kind of, for me, it kind of cheapens it because it's like, okay, well, that's what the Maester thought happened because that was his presumption. But like, if she, and it would be one thing if she was like also a young woman and Aemond's like a hot young guy and like he's got the cool sapphire eye and they hook up later, it's fine. But if she is like 100-year-old witch or something, then it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I also don't know that we've seen her do any actual magic.
Well, and that's the thing. Like that's kind of my thing is like she says a bunch of stuff. She knows a bunch of things. Like, because one thing that I remember really being jarring about season 2 was when she said some stuff like to Damon about Viserys that I'm like, how would you know? Right? Like the only way that she would be able to know, because it was like he did his best, or he tried to rule well or something like that. And he says that she says that to Damon, and I'm like, you like short of having powers, like how would you possibly have insight into how the king ruled when you were a lady who worked at Harrenhal? Like
Right.
I just like you wouldn't have insight into that. But she like makes this comment or whatever. So I just, and again, like the show to me has had these moments as well. Like, I mean, again, to reference season 2, there's that moment where Helena, Damon, Alice, and like 3 other people all have like a shared
yes
green sight vision, and it just doesn't, the powers and the magic and all this stuff just seem to flip on and off like as is necessary for whatever they want to happen.
Right.
And there's just not this consistency. Like, why isn't Aemond eating weirwood paste? Like they had Damon, they made a whole thing about Damon eating weirwood paste, and like Aemond hasn't done any of that, but he was having visions. They also had a Vagar connection flash in the one episode where he wakes up from a dream and like the face of his dragon like is in his mind, and he like snaps away and it like roars and he snaps awake. And I don't know, I just like, to me it's just, there's a
if
lot
I was
of
gonna be remarkably generous,
sure.
There's a lot in the lore about like the metaphorical magic of having one eye. So there's a lot of one-eyed people, or metaphorically one-eyed people, throughout Martin's text that
Right.
have one eye and also have a more magical connection than others. It's kind of like a loss of an eye is a it's a metaphor, a symbol of both a loss of knowledge and a gaining of knowledge.
Right.
So if I was going to be like remarkably generous to the writers, I'd say like he didn't need to have paste or whatever because he's only got the one eye. But they don't know that. They haven't read this text that closely. So there's
I do like that idea though.
That's just the complete like straw man.
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing I liked in one of these episodes was Alice when she confronted some like the first batch of guys that came, she scared them away by saying spooky stuff, and then she takes a rock real quick and throws it behind her, and the bats come out.
Mhm.
And it's like a storming, and there's like thunder or whatever, and they've guys, oh, they've run away. And I'm like, I liked that because I'm like, oh, she's just a lady
Right.
who knows that there are bats here and knows if she throws a rock, if she says spooky shit and throws a rock, the bats will fly out and these dumbasses will get scared and run away. And like, she's very clever. But then like, she's really clever that episode. And then the next episode, a bunch of guys come up and her plan is, I'm going to go talk directly to them. These men that have swords and knives and weapons and are multiple and are stronger than me, and hope they don't kill me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and just like cross my fingers and hope, and like then Aemon has
and hope that Aemon comes. Like
it was just like it didn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know what the magic is exactly. I don't know if the show knows what the magic is or when it belongs. I don't know why there's dragon eggs. You think what the dragon eggs might be like the subject of a battle of some kind or a fight?
Well, I'm just like, does it have to do with the prophecy? Does it have to do like what happens to that? Like, why have they been introduced? Basically, like,
hey, you want to make a bet? I'm gonna make a bet over under on those eggs not being in the rest of the season.
I mean, it's highly likely.
They're gonna come on screen. They're gonna go right off screen.
Yeah,
they're with Otto Hightower on the off screen.
They mentioned Rhaena the Black Bride for no reason other than to fan service their way out of another scene.
Yeah, it is really. So I don't know what else to make of Harrenhal. I do worry that we're not going to get God's Eye this season,
which is really crazy. I mean, they haven't like. It's to the point now where kind of if it happens this season, I'll be like, they didn't set this up at all.
Right. It would feel
like, like
if we spend all of season 3 on a singular Tumbleton, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
That's crazy sauce.
No, that is insane.
Absolute crazy sauce. I have ideas.
That essentially means like if you don't do the God's Eye in this season, that essentially means like it means that the show will simply not get to anything as an epilogue of what happened. Like it will
unless you do in the next 2 episodes, The Moon and the Three Kings. If you do that, and I don't hate the idea of doing that with Daemon around.
Sure.
Because you could kind of tie up like the Gold Cloak stuff and the riots. So you could combine those things. But
they'd essentially like go out of order so that the God's Eye doesn't happen this season, right? Like you'd be rearranging the story simply to avoid not having Matt Smith in the show for one season.
Yeah, I think that's why they might be doing it, because they want to keep those characters for season 4.
Yeah.
And
I think, it's
sometimes you got to kill your darlings. Because then what's God's Eye going to have to be? What, episode 1 or 2?
Probably.
Yeah, they got to stop with it. This is a pacing disaster. This is a pacing disaster that started with the Purple Wedding in season 4 of Game of Thrones, when that was episode 2 of that season. And it was 3 episodes after the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
That was a pacing nightmare that caused alas. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, then we get to go to Tumbleton.
Okay.
But this time it's other Tumbleton, the fancy house with Ormond and Gwaine and Darren.
Does Tumbleton even have a castle? Wait, I need to know. I'm going to ask the internet if Tumbleton even has a castle.
it's just like a manor house almost, but it's this like they're somehow in like a Roman villa.
Tumbletown is a market. Tumbletown is a market town in the Reach, the seat of House Footly.
Which they did keep consistent. They kept the Footleys in the show.
They did. A stout but small castle overlooks the town. During the dance, it has a garrison of 40 men. So we're not talking big castles here, but for alas, this is where Ormond Hightower, the very important character we've definitely known before this season, is situated.
So Ormond spends this whole scene just calling Gwaine gay.
Yeah. Gwaine is pretty gay. That's fair, but like,
yeah,
you don't need to be.
I mean, he literally, his last big pitch to Kristen Cole was like, "I want to look at the sunrise over the Hightower with you."
And Kristen said no homo,
which is not a euphemism, I don't think, but I like so Gwaine and Ormond have a pretty homophobic conversation. Well, Ormond has a homophobic conversation with Gwaine.
Yeah.
But I think, well, we'll get back to Gwaine's homosexuality because I think the show ends up being
it's an important plot point. Come on.
Where I'm like, where people in my comments being like, well, yeah, he's gay. Of course he remembers this guy's hair. I'm like, that is like borderline a slur that you just said.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yikes.
So Darren and Gwaine finally get a chance to talk. Darren's like, yeah, he's a psychopath. Like, I thought, there's certain things about this storyline that I like. I just wish it wasn't these characters, if that makes sense. Like this sort of abusive relationship where Darren is being put forward as the king and Ormond is like calling him your grace, but then expecting him to call him sire, which is just like fucking nuts, right? Like I actually really like a lot of this. It just, to me, like the context of it makes it make a lot less sense.
Yeah.
Because Darren is like, if Aegon and Aemond can't be found or are dead or have abdicated or whatever the show, has set it up as, like Darren is the king, like in their, succession, right? And I just don't find, like, what is Ormond's game plan if this kid actually does become king? Because if you treat this kid like you would have to bank on him being absolutely subservient forever. Because the second he snaps out of it, you're toast.
And he's a dragon rider.
Right? Like there's just no.
Yeah.
The idea that Ormond is exerting complete control over this kid who literally could have his dragon eat this guy at any given moment is just strange. Plus, he doesn't like the smells. He doesn't like smelly smells.
What a weird. Can we just pause on that for a second? What a weird characterization. That he's like very sensitive to odor. In a time when there was no such thing as running water, like
right.
What a weird whomps. I think whoever came up with that at HBO should do like a little time in jail. Just at like a weekend, just a little bit. I feel like that there needs to be punishment for making me watch multiple scenes of this grown-ass man character not like smells.
I really love that Ormond's like, the way that they portray this in the show is like the Baratheons like walk into the room and it is the like Saving Private Ryan D-Day. Like a grenade just went off and he has like far away hearing. And like I'm like, Ormond smelling a smell is akin to being hit with a grenade.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Like that was just really crazy to me, where I'm like the ringing in his ears. It's like,
Yeah.
how's that happening? Like how
Hasn't
you
that
ever
happened?
smell a
You
smell
ever,
so
you ever
bad that
walk
your
it?
hearing just cuts out?
Yeah. You ever walk into like a Bath and Body Works and it's just all it's way too much for you all over the place?
Like the
Oh
vision
man.
blurring, I get, right? Like it, it could sting your eyes or something. Like a really bad odor could, in theory, like I'm almost like it, like I don't know. It's like SpongeBob when he has a bad breath.
Yeah.
Like that's what like the people in the movie theater. That's Ormond.
Yes. I
Um,
just I love that the Saving Private Ryan.
yeah, no, it just that really struck me, where I was like, this is insane. Like,
Oh.
um, and that being his one weakness, the fact that
I,
Alicent literally remarks to Rhaenyra that, like, well, the one thing I know about him is that he's really sensitive to smells. What the fuck? Like, what do you mean that's the one thing you know about somebody?
I just really hope that at some point in time he dies, but just before he dies, whoever's gonna kill him goes, smell this, and then like chops his head off, you know. It's gonna be
Hmm.
like a cool death line. Uh
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's gonna pay off in any way?
I mean, it has to, right? But I don't
But
understand
how could it?
why that would be the thing. Like the most satisfying payoff, eliminating the smell, right? What would be like the most satisfying potential payoff of this whole thing is Daron getting on his fucking dragon and killing Ormond, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
when the battle breaks out, Ormond trying to do something to keep Daron under his thumb or under control or whatever, and Daron
Mhm.
throwing off his chains, and Tessarion's like literally
Mhm.
throwing off Tessarion's chains and
Mhm.
freeing himself from Ormond's control, right? Like
Mhm.
that is, to me, it's like a nice, there's a lot of nice stuff in there.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like why would, like, there's no way that they introduced this whole concept just so we could get a really extended scene of him puking everywhere.
This was gonna happen. He's gonna be like on the battlefield, and he's gonna be like, something smells like sulfur. He's gonna turn around, and there's Tessarion just with fire about to come at him, and that's when he gets burned and eaten.
And he's screaming, crying,
That's the,
throwing up.
yeah, yeah. And he's
Um,
like, oh, it smells so bad, you know, like yeah, that's what it's gonna.
Also, a very weird thing that he was in the room when Tessarion burned the corpse of Kat's brother,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he did not remark on the smell for 1 second.
Yeah,
Um,
and burning. Y'all ever burn your hair by accident? Y'all ever have like a time when you were curling your hair or straightening your hair, or like your hair, a piece of your hair fell into the stove fire? Like has ever that smells really bad. Burning hair
it
smells awful.
stinks.
Stinks.
Yeah,
Stinks.
it's
Also,
really
this is
crazy.
this is
It
the whole
didn't
thing is ridiculous.
flinch.
The man is a soldier. He's been marching with his army. Do you think they smell good? Like they dig
Like,
their own latrines.
right.
You know,
Yeah, they've
he's
been on
going
the
into.
march from
Imagine him in
Oldtown.
a porta potty. What would he pass out? What's going to happen? Like, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
He sees just like the sight of somebody like relieving themselves on the march,
I
right?
just don't.
Like,
I don't know who did this, why they did
yeah,
this. You
no,
know.
it's
Anyway,
really
but
crazy.
we get the fake Baratheons. I did not put this together until afterwards that these are Baratheons sent by Rhaenyra. And
Yeah.
that earlier scene when she saw the Baratheons, that she was like, "Give me your belt." I thought she was asking for their belts because they were like made of gold and they're like out of money. That's what I thought she was
Yeah,
doing.
I like, honestly, I didn't know what she meant by that. I'll be so
Yeah.
honest. I was like, that is such a weird thing to say. Like, is she gonna, it was like, fetch me a switch? Like I'm gonna hit you?
I thought she was
You've
gonna
been
sell
bad
them.
boys. I'm going to spank you with your belts.
I thought she was like, "Give me your belt. I'm gonna fucking sell this on eBay and make some money."
Yeah, it was, so I'll be honest, like, and this is again where in the interest of being surprising, they are omitting like scenes that would be useful in character, like further making the characters, one, do shit, and two, like, characterize them. Because, like, this is a wildly rash decision for Rhaenyra to make. It's borderline insane for her to dress up people, like, because Orwell even talks about whatever, like sending knives for Ormond, and she does not. She's like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, that's not what we're going to do. But then she does do that. But we don't see her make that decision because the show wants to surprise us with Gwaine knowing the hair color of Aerion Baratheon. Right.
It would have been better. It would have been better if they had shown a scene of her being like, we're going to send, men, and we're going to send men in disguise to Tumbleton, or we're going to send someone that will, I'll take care of Ormond. We're going to send someone to Tumbleton to take care of some people to Tumbleton. And then like you give us 20 minutes of other shit and we will have forgotten anyway. And we will be, but then when we're surprised, we're like, oh, that's right. She said she was going to send somebody. Like, that's equally, if not better, in terms of surprise. But yeah, you want to talk about this hair color thing again?
I just, if the explanation is like, if the television show that you're making is like, has a mistaken hair color situation in it already, right? Having a different character in a different scene recognize somebody's hair color or know somebody's hair color, to me further calls out the absurdity of the first situation, because Daemon not knowing Darren's hair color is like patently absurd.
Yeah.
Gwaine knowing the hair color of Aerion Baratheon, for me, cannot be explained away by the fact that Gwaine is gay. Like,
no,
Gwaine is a noble person who has probably seen one of these Baratheons at a tournament, whatever, right? Like, knowing what a guy looks like has nothing to do with your sexuality.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
and also
I just don't
also
understand.
what if he remembered wrong? They encounter lots of people. Your human like facial recognition is not perfect. Like it would have even been fine. Like I would be complaining less if Gwaine had like tested them with a question. Like if the guy was like, I'm whatever Baratheon, whatever name he said, and Gwaine had said, oh, how is your lady sister? Last I heard she wasn't doing well. Has she recovered? And he was like, oh yes, absolutely, she has recovered. And he'd be like, shing, shing, shing. I know that guy. He doesn't have a fucking sister, or she's dead.
Or
his sister died.
His sister died, or whatever thing. Like, because again, the gamble that they are taking by not confirming anything, and this is where like people are constantly not confirming shit, right? Like, but
these
the gamble
you are taking decisions
is, if that is Aerion Baratheon whose hair darkened because he got older or whatever, like, right, or you didn't remember exactly right, and you just murdered Boris Baratheon's son, like, you have created a situation for yourself,
right?
So like, and I really didn't like that it was a defense of Gwaine being the one to know the hair color, being the fact that the character is gay. Really just felt like insane to me.
It's super lazy.
Where it's like, well, yeah, of course he knows what he looks like. He's into dudes. And it's like, what are we talking about?
It would be different if it was like, first of all, if there was any additional characterization here other than just like he's gay, so he knows a hair color. But if Gwaine, because all Gwaine says is like he's lighter of hair and he's more comely, and it's like, okay, well, if it had been like, they had been lovers at some point, or they had been an attorney together, or if he had said like if he actually knew the guy, which is fair because he's a knight, he would know other knights. Like this is a person he could very reasonably know from like regular court interaction.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like, I remember him because like I thought he was hot. Like that's just lazy. That's lazy at that point.
Yeah.
So
we get Rhaenyra receiving the petitioners at one point in between this, and Rhaenyra cuts her finger on the throne.
Yeah.
I really, there was a period of time where I thought they were not going to do this.
Yeah.
But again, like,
Did
it's
Aegon cut
very,
himself on the throne at all? I don't recall.
I'm not sure. I can't say
I
for sure. It's
I don't
possible.
I don't
I don't remember
remember.
it specifically. He's also maybe shown on the throne like twice or something like that.
I wouldn't be as mad about it if Aegon had also cut himself on the throne.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like it.
My thing being that, like, they had this opportunity, like, they love doing the, like, well, this is propaganda in Fire and Blood, and this is like,
Mhm.
don't buy into this and that, and whenever it's like convenient for them or whatever.
Mhm.
And the stories about Rhaenyra cutting herself on the Iron Throne are quite clearly to undermine a woman who is
Right.
sitting the throne, right?
Yep.
Like, she doesn't have the physical ailments of Viserys. She does not have this like physical deterioration, right?
Mhm.
Like, at any point, she doesn't get these, like, she's not getting like fingers and arms and shit amputated and
Right.
eyeballs plucked out and whatever. Like,
Mhm.
she doesn't undergo the same deterioration. So the suggestion that, like, oh, look, same thing that's happening to her dad, and it's also a whole metaphor about how she's not really fit to rule. And it's like,
Mhm.
but that's the propaganda. Like, that's the propaganda. Like, all
Right.
this other shit that you guys are doing is other stuff, but like,
I
you're including the propaganda.
I think the show's going to really struggle to stick the landing on this because I think the writers have fundamentally misunderstood what the dance is about. And any indication that like anything they're embracing that's an indication that Rhaenyra is not a fit ruler is wrong. And they don't understand the story as a tragedy.
Yeah.
So, and this is that kind of thing. It's like, no, she wasn't getting cut on the throne. It was clear. It was part, like you just said, part of the propaganda. So, no.
And yeah, like, it's very funny because, like, for someone who there are segments, stupid segments, but segments of the fandom who are convinced that Condal is some kind of like social justice warrior who's too woke or whatever. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, if that were the story he were telling, why, like, would he not be telling the story of a hyper competent Rhaenyra who is rejected by a misogynist society that can't accept a
Mm-hmm.
woman in charge, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is not the story being told. He is telling the story of a weak and ineffectual woman failing to rule, right?
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
that
that's
is
exactly
like,
it. Yeah.
and that, like, yep, all of your worst fears are correct. Like,
Mm-hmm.
women can't do it. Like,
Yep.
this woman who was prepared her whole life for it can't even do it.
And the Fire and Blood is also like the story of the dance in Fire and Blood is also not the story of hyper competent Rhaenyra who was destroyed by misogyny. Certainly, misogyny and sexism is a big part of it, but it's about the story of the fact that monarchy is bad, that monarchy and feudalism and systems in which you oppress people are going to be bad. And even if you have someone who could be a good ruler at that moment, that doesn't mean the system is good.
Mhm.
So the dance is about the Targaryen family sort of eating itself, right?
Right.
Is the system destroying itself because the system
Right.
is unstable, is innately unstable. So that's what it's about.
And
Uh,
in Rhaenyra, like, they also, because of the way that the show has treated like character deaths and all this sort of stuff as impactful only in the exact precise moment that they need the reaction to it,
mm-hmm,
um but not impactful to the characters or the story. Like, they just haven't painted this picture of Rhaenyra as a consistently, like, mentally deteriorating character,
mm-hmm,
right? Like, they just show her as an effectual, where it's like, if they showed an effective Rhaenyra who is thinking clearly and making good decisions, or at least
mm-hmm,
like trying to make good decisions, right, at the beginning of the dance, and as Luke dies, and as Jace dies, and as like all of this stuff starts unraveling,
mm-hmm,
and even though she's doing the right thing and making good decisions, her family is dying around her.
Right. Yeah.
You can get to paranoid, like crazy, ineffectual Rhaenyra because of her deteriorating mental state. But they haven't shown the arc. They've just showed passive Rhaenyra or like victim of circumstance Rhaenyra, but they are not showing an active and effective Rhaenyra who is deteriorating. Right. Like, because that's an interesting story.
Right. And they're not showing, they're like, I don't know. It's like they're afraid to make her like unlikable in any way. I don't know if it's like they're enamored with Emma Darcy, which like we all are, but like,
of course,
you know, because the few times that they've given Rhaenyra the ability to do something, she does, like, you know, social justice Rhaenyra, who feeds rats to all the nobles. That was insane. No, that would never. That's so. I'm like, it's okay for Team Black to be headed by a monarch who wants to rule absolutely. That's Rhaenyra is claiming the right to rule because of her dad was there. Like, right. And if you don't like that, if that's not social justice enough for you, like, it's not supposed to be. It's a monarchy.
Right.
We're supposed to be saying, hey, that is maybe perhaps not as romantic as fantasy stories tend to make it. That's like the whole point of George's work. I was talking to someone recently about this, actually, where I guess technically you would classify A Song of Ice and Fire as a fantasy story, but I think of it really more now as a response to fantasy.
Sure.
It's much less like a classic fantasy and more an answer to the classic fantasy genre, saying like, oh, you think knighthood is cool? You sure about that? You think being a pure virgin maiden is cool and that's a good thing? You know, you think monarchy is cool? And he really holds a mirror up to that, saying, you know, these systems that you're projecting all this happiness onto and all this wonderfulness onto are dangerous and constrict people and you know, are bad for people's liberties. Like, this is not a good system and you shouldn't be romanticizing it. I mean, that's Sansa's entire direct arc on page in the main series. So anyway, sorry, went off on a rant.
No. I mean, it's all relevant, and I think like the way that they've approached these certain things, like the way that the show has taken the response to fantasy, right, aspect of George's work, is that they have chosen in almost every instance, when they're offered a choice of like how to adapt or like what to do in a given scene, they choose the most mundane option as a like, oh, see, like everything that happened, like, yeah, you think it was this crazy thing, but it was just a misunderstanding or just a normal thing, or just like, oh, nope, like it wasn't that, it was nothing. And it's like, that's also not like George's thing, right? Like, yeah, the story as told in the histories is different from what the people experienced right on the ground. But the idea that nothing ever happens, right? That's kind of the like House of the Dragon approach, is that like it's just like, yeah, you know, in the book it's this crazy thing, but it's just not, like, you guys are the ones kind of like thinking it's something fantastic, and when it's like, that's not the critique that George is saying. Like, George is saying, no, crazy shit does happen, but it's people making decisions. It's not
it's the people making the crazy shit happen. Well, like the, you know, that the good example of that is the decision at the end of season 1 to make Alicent to mishear Viserys, and like, she has a genuine belief that he changed, for at least for a time, she has a genuine belief that he changed the succession. That's interesting. I mean, I hate that exactly, but it wasn't necessary. There was always going to be a coup. There was a planned coup. And the interesting part of this political civil war is that there was always a planned coup. And there was nothing that could have stopped it. Right. And that is people making decisions.
Well, it's like Otto, the whole Otto thing, you know, comes back into it, because Otto spent all this time literally making this happen, right?
Yeah.
Like this was his life's work.
Mhm.
But when it comes time to kill that character, there's no discussion of the fact that this is all his doing, right? Like, or
I
almost all of this is his doing, right?
I
Like, and
mourn the scene we could have had that you described of
yeah,
Rhaenyra giving a speech to like work herself up to it. Oh, I would have loved that.
but that's the sort of stuff that like it ends up meaning that it is, oh, it's a tragedy in the sense that it's just tragic this all happened because it was so avoidable.
Yeah. Like
Right. And
that's
it's
one
like,
kind of
no,
tragedy. That's like an Oedipus kind of tragedy.
right.
But this
But
is
it's like,
different.
yeah, no, characters wanted this to happen.
Right. Mhm.
And so they made it happen.
Yeah. People chose this violence
Yeah.
for lots of different reasons.
Right.
And perhaps it's a
But
critique on
not
our
just
modern society.
because, right. And
Yeah.
not just because, oh, like this is my lot in life.
Mhm.
Or, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, now I
no,
gotta
like,
do a coup. Oh no, yeah.
no, the heir doesn't the heir doesn't have the right genitals. I must do a coup.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And so yeah, so I think that's where so we get let's see. Oh, the end of this episode is Alicent tries to get released again. Rhaenyra gets sly smirk on her face and is like, yes, I'll release you into my own service to go kill your son.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this.
So
Oh
Alicent
God.
is going to Harrenhal. And I wanted to talk about this just very, very briefly because it doesn't, I'm really concerned about what this is going to be. But logistically speaking, Rhaenyra, in theory, should receive a raven at any moment that her army in the Riverlands has won a decisive victory and killed Criston Cole.
Yeah.
Alicent Hightower is going to travel with a small band of people to Harrenhal, which is in the Riverlands.
Mhm.
And in theory, her army will probably run into that. Like, you know, I
They could
imagine
cross
the main
paths.
roads.
Yeah.
I imagine the main roads between King's Landing. Like, how are you going to explain that?
What they're gonna do is put Alicent in a little hood, and they'll just be like, "This is
Little Green Riding Hood."
yeah." This is a septa in training. I don't know. This is they'll do they'll do a little sneaky and it'll
Because again, this
be
is the geography issue that I have.
yeah.
Also, you're sending Alicent Hightower out of King's Landing. Ormond Hightower has been like, you think that Ormond is behind this web of assassinations of gold cloaks that has happened in King's Landing. So he has agents in the city. One of your most valuable hostages that you have, you're going to let go in a city that you don't have total control over, out into the frontier that you don't have total control over. Like, and
You
at the
know,
end, and also at the end of this episode, I know Rhaenyra doesn't know this, but Corlys Velaryon has been kidnapped
by God knows who.
by old John Roxton, who went all the way from Tumbleton to
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did teleport. Ay.
to the northeastern, like the coast northeast of King's Landing. He went undetected, and despite the fact that Corlys is surrounded by Velaryon men, he gets abducted. Is bold John Roxton a faceless man?
Oh my God, that explains the whole thing.
So the title of the episode is also Faceless Men. And we
this
didn't even talk about
episode?
we didn't even talk about Damon's alleyway.
Okay, but let me just comment on the Alicent thing.
Switcheroo.
We can circle back to Damon's alleyway switcheroo because that is very important. So I have so many questions. Rhaenyra believes Aemond is at Harrenhal without Vhagar. So then why doesn't she just drive her dragon there and eat him? Or send one of her many dozens of dragon riders that are just hanging around. She's got Adam. She's got Bela. I mean, there's so many dragons. She's got Daemon. Daemon's there with Caraxes. Like, let him finish his shift pretending to be a gold cloak and then send him to go eat Aemond. Like, there's so many other better ways to do this than sending Alicent. My second point and or question and a prediction is bet for next week. What's the over under that Alice and Alicent are catty with each other? They're gonna be like so catty, and they're gonna just be like, it's gonna be mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, and they're just gonna be mean about it to each other.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I think you're right on that.
Yeah. So classic Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she has so many dragons and just doesn't. Vhagar. What's really crazy about that is Vhagar has been used as an excuse for now 2 seasons to not do shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, Vhagar's out there. 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 Mm-hmm. Okay. You just got to report that Vhagar is not there.
Mm-hmm.
How is this not the window?
Also, like, it's going to take a bajillion years for Alicent to walk there. You can fly to Harrenhal in less than a day from King's Landing. So just, because, like, okay, if you send a couple of dragons and you pull up and Vhagar is there, then you pull away and you go back home.
Right.
Like, the whole thing. Yeah.
I just sending Alicent to Harrenhal, like, just so they can have a scene, like, it's literally like the only reason that I can think about is that they want Aemond and Alicent to speak. Like, why else is
I think they want to give Alicent more to do. Mm-hmm. And that, but this is not it. Right. This is not.
Well, they're also, I think they're coming up to the point as well where I think they must have realized shortly after they've wrapped season 2 that making Rhaenyra and Alicent the 2 main characters of the show doesn't make any sense, because mm-hmm. the 2 main characters of the war are Aegon and Rhaenyra.
Yeah, and Alicent and Rhaenyra are in the same spot now. Right. So there's like I like their relationship, but like, why couldn't they do something, sure. For example, like Alicent, who we know is like politically minded, and her strength is working over people and like doing politics, right? Her strength is not going to do an assassination. Her strength is working over people. So why doesn't she work over Mysaria? Okay, we got a little smidge of that briefly, to no end, because then Alicent's just spilled the beans about the pregnancy. But we know Mysaria is a little bisexual. Alicent's a little bisexual. Rhaenyra is a little bisexual, and maybe we have some little bisexual drama go on. Yeah. Like, there could be like little touch of the hand, push of the hair, like things like that, where like Alicent is like tries to ingratiate herself with Mysaria, mm-hmm. and maybe it works and it causes tension and problems and stuff like that.
Right?
Like that could have been a whole thing, but it's very important that Alicent's teleport to Harrenhal, because she's gonna she's gonna be there next episode, and
so gosh, I am dreading that a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So you want to talk about Daemon a bit, and then we could talk about some like big picture things that I have some ideas.
So Daemon goes undercover boss, and he hits the streets because all of the gold cloaks in King's Landing have quit. So he is the lone remaining cop, mm-hmm. In the whole city, and he is walking through the streets. This would-be assassin, is ready to go do the ritual killing that they've been doing of pulling out the entrails of a gold cloak in an alleyway with no witnesses.
Yeah.
But Daemon gets a drop on him.
Mhm.
somehow. And
Damon read the script, so he knew.
he
Yeah.
knew there was an assassin behind him. And
Mhm.
so he is holding him at the tiniest little dagger point. And does this little interrogation, which was highly insufficient. But
Mhm.
the things that this guy says felt insane to me for a
Mhm.
number of reasons. So Damon catches this guy in the alleyway. He has him up against the wall. He's got him at knife point, and he's like, "Who are you?" Whatever. And he says, like, we are the people of the Seven Kingdoms,
Mhm.
suggesting that he is an assassin for like a populist movement,
Mhm.
like a popular uprising that is beginning. He says we have no sigil, we are legion, whatever they, yeah, well, like you can kill me, but you can't kill the whole, and whatever.
Mhm.
The wolf dies, but the pack survives.
Yeah,
And
Jersey
so,
Strong.
yeah,
After I don't know if you're aware, after Hurricane Sandy, the phrase
yeah,
Jersey Strong
Jersey,
became like a thing for a long time. So
Jersey
yeah, he said
strong,
Jersey Strong.
exactly. And so, but then he says, we are supporting Daron the Daring, and we'll raise him to be the king or whatever.
Mhm.
And this was nuts to me because number one, he starts off by saying that like this is a popular uprising, right?
Mhm.
Which is trying to cast off like the reign of the Targaryens or this Targaryen regime
Of
or
this
Rhaenyra
Targaryen.
specifically,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
specifically Rhaenyra. Says we have no sigil, but then backs a specific person to be king.
Yep. Yep.
Like, is
Yeah.
this a popular uprising of common people or not? Because we've also seen this person correspond with with Ormond.
Mm-hmm.
He is not like, I don't understand what the like, was he lying to say to Damon like this is a popular uprising and to make him further paranoid because oh Darren's got the support of the common folk or something like that when clearly he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't.
Yeah.
um like why would he?
He's apparently never been to King's Landing, so
But I guess my concern about the way that this was delivered was that the show wants us to believe what this guy was saying was true,
mm-hmm.
that it is a popular uprising, like, and that it is like, this is the people like wielding their power or whatever.
Hmm.
I
I
I have
hmm.
to believe that he's lying, right? Because like, and that he's just saying that this is a popular uprising, but really we're funded by Ormond, and this is a wet like they are
Mm-hmm.
sending pigeons to Tumbleton, which like
Right.
I just don't get like which is it? Is it a popular uprising that's been co-opted by Ormond? Is it a popular? Is it like
Also, it's just it's poor writing if a character is lying and I don't know it. You know, like the purpose of your script is to tell me information, right?
right,
Like if a character is lying to another character, absent you wanting to be shocking, which is not ever worth it, like I should know that. You know, like when Tyrion and Cersei lie to each other, I'm
right?
aware they're lying to each other, it characterizes them, etc. Right?
Mhm.
Uh, the lie is not the important part. The important part is the characterization between the two.
Right,
Um, this is just like a random dude who
right.
like stabs people, and like yeah, that's a good question. Like, is it a popular uprising? Is it? But everything we've seen says it's not. So then
Right.
why would he say that?
Well, and
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
and this is it gets weirder because um so there's that he uses the nickname Daron the Daring, which is a nickname that is earned in the book. Daron earns that nickname at a battle
Mm-hmm.
doing a daring thing.
Yep.
Um the Honey Wine Battle of the Honey Wine, which is
Mm-hmm.
on the march from Old Town up like this, this Hightower army fights a bunch of battles like on their
Right.
way there. They don't just go there to Tumbleton for free.
Hmm.
But they cut all of that.
Yeah.
Like they don't talk about any of that. Like I think they
Hmm.
maybe talk about them fighting the Beesberries or getting hassled by the Beesberries like on their march or something like that
Hmm.
in season 2. But they haven't, that was all whatever. But they didn't address it. They didn't talk about there being a battle. And Darren quite clearly has never been in any sort of combat.
No, clearly not. No.
Like he's never seen battle.
Hmm.
His next one will be his first one. But so they use that nickname, which I also thought was weird. They specifically support a specific claimant to the throne, despite saying that we're the people and we have no sigil, when you're literally working for Ormond Hightower. Like,
You've chosen a sigil, yes.
yeah. And so it was just a very confusing bit of dialogue. And then Daemon, in classic Daemon fashion now, kills him.
Mhm.
He stabs him in the ear with the tiniest dagger ever, and I'm supposed to believe that that killed him instantly, but I don't know. It was just like that was weird. I was like,
I noticed that too. You know
from
what it
like,
reminded me of? Do you remember in the Bad Show when, like, I think it was like season 6 started and they had decided to nix the Dorne plot? And
oh
they
yes,
had like the Sand Snake stab Alexander Siddig with the tiniest little dagger. No, they stabbed Ariel Hota with the tiniest little dagger. And this man who was like a refrigerator just collapsed. It
hmm.
was like that.
Yeah, yeah. So so he dies, and Damon walks out of the alleyway like nothing happened, and there's a dead
Mhm,
body in the alleyway. The
mhm.
show was like, no, we're not going to have like the normal people notice this dead body.
No, why would
We
they
are
do
going
that?
to have a confrontation between Ulf and Damon, where Ulf happens in a city of over 1 million people to bump
Mhm.
into Damon Targaryen.
What's the odds?
Um, and they have a confrontation where because Ulf is being like Ulf and
Mhm.
is sneaking out of the castle, and Damon, who has also, spoiler alert, snuck out of the castle right now and is dressed as a gold cloak,
Mhm.
uh doing a cockamamie investigation scheme on behalf
Mhm.
of his dead bros.
Mhm.
um Bumps into Ulf and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then throws him down in the mud very publicly. And the people notice that and not the dead guy.
Well, someone's already putting the dead guy into a bowl of brown. So, like, listen, they
He was
wait,
around the corner.
waste not, want not. Okay, they got.
Not whatnot.
There's not a lot of food in King's
He
Landing
was
right
around
now.
a corner, so they did not see that. But
Yes, they
they
did not
did
see
see
that.
him push Ulf down.
Yeah,
Um
which means that the people of King's Landing saw what they interpreted as a random gold cloak push a dragon rider down.
yeah,
Yeah, good optics. And
yeah.
can somebody explain to me why can they not manage to keep Ulf inside?
I like, yeah, I
It's
don't
not
know.
like he knows
By
the
this
Red Keep
logic,
really well, you know?
by this logic, Allison and Helena totally should have gotten away with one of these things. Like it's
Right.
like everybody else is sneaking out of the Red Keep, no fucking problem.
Remember
Um,
when Rhaenyra snuck from Dragonstone to King's Landing and dressed as a Septa?
and then Allison repeated the feat in the same season of
Yeah.
television.
Yeah. Allison really has got to step up her game. She's really failing here. But yeah, the I don't understand the Damon thing. I also feel like I don't know. There's a problem with scale too, and I get that there's a limitation in TV that it's like King's Landing does have in the books it has 500,000 people. In the show, it has 1 million people that was established in
Mm,
Game of Thrones. So this is like a few 100 years before. So let's say it's between 500,000 to 1 million
sure.
people. Like, how many Gold Cloak murders are happening that it's a problem? Because like people on the force die and get
Sure.
murdered all the time, and the
Sure.
more people you have, the more that happens. You know, like murders
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Uh, it's I don't know, but that I mean that just might be an issue of scale. Like, how do you show that on
Yeah.
screen?
I think I think the other thing, this is another one of those like, why is it Damon?
Mm-hmm.
Why does this guy like find him? Why does he fall for the whatever? And the title of the episode is Faceless Men, and I think they were doing a thing with like, I think that they think they're being clever about the common people
Mm-hmm.
being the murderers, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain the murders at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this is normal ass people, hey, Gold Cloak pulled to pieces, or
Mm-hmm.
like chopped up, or like, or they're not being witnesses because people aren't talking to the cops because you're in
Mm-hmm.
South Boston or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's a, like, that all tracks to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
The specific way that they've set this up of them being killed in this like nigh on like ritualistic way,
Mm-hmm.
and cop headquarters being infiltrated and the head of the cops being murdered and put up in this sordid display, like,
Mm-hmm.
that can't be normal people. Like,
No.
I'm so sorry, there's no way. Like, if they storm the police station and kill some cops,
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, sure, that could be normal people. That whole thing would have taken hours to do.
Right. I like
Like,
literally like imagine if you and your neighbors, like you and like 5 or 10 of your neighbors, decided you wanted to kill the police in your town. And you did that by going to the police station where they live and work
right.
and doing it there.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's
getting away
crazy
with no
sauce.
one noticing.
Crazy, absolutely crazy sauce. And this
Like,
gets back to like the writers want us to be shocked. And I'm like, it's just not worth it. It's never worth it to write a story in such a fucking contrived way because now I'm surprised for 30 seconds maybe. You know? Like and it has no rewatch value because the shock is gone. Like that it's
right.
crazy. This crazy sauce, just crazy.
Yeah. So the whole, yeah, that whole plot like is really, I think they're doing like, I think they're trying to do a thing about like the people are capable of this violence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to set up for the people to do more violence in the future, like,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see how they are doing like assassin violence, like mob
Right.
violence. I get
Yes, mob
assassin
violence,
violence.
exactly. Yeah.
Assassin
That's the
violence,
strength.
I don't understand.
The strength of the King's Landers is that their numbers. It's not
Right,
the skill. It's not the skill with
right.
the sword or anything like that. It's the sheer numbers of them. Yeah.
And if it is Faceless Men, like, if it were to turn around and it's like, no, that guy was actually a faceless man and Damon just got the drop on him and killed him,
Mhm.
bullshit.
No.
Bull fucking shit.
No,
The
it's
Faceless
not
Men
Faceless
literally are like
Men.
supernatural killers
Yeah.
who live by a code and are, you know, and have this like, he would not like lie about being a
It's
random
there.
peasant or
It's
whatever.
not that. They didn't think that hard about the scene, and they
I
thought,
think they're doing a faceless men of like, the faceless men are the faceless peasants of King's Landing who you
ooh,
don't pay
do you
attention
get
to,
it?
right?
It's so
Like,
meta. Don't you feel meta?
I feel meta.
Don't you feel meta?
I feel
Um,
meta glasses.
so one thing I put a pin in earlier, this question
Yes.
of why, because now we've talked through, particularly in this last episode, but also in the season so far, these many adaptational changes that just don't work. They're like making changes that are making the story worse.
Mhm.
And that happened. There were some of those in season 1. There were more in season 2. There's now more in season 3. HBO has this problem of it snowballing into these issues. So this is like the $1,000,000 question. Why are they making these changes that are hurting the quality of the story? Why?
It's so, the couple of things that I can think about is, I mean, the kindest one And I think one that people do fall back on a little bit is that the changes are being made because they had a plan and HBO fucked their plan up by shortening the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with that as an excuse up until now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I understood that as an excuse for, hey, season 2 they didn't do what they wanted to because they got shortened. But
Mm-hmm.
we have now seen those episodes
Mm-hmm.
because it was the first 2 episodes of this season.
Yep. Yep. Mm.
And it doesn't explain away the rest of season 2. It's not like, oh, the rest of season 2 makes so much more sense now
Right.
that
Yeah.
I saw those 2 episodes. It's like, yeah, it would have been a more satisfying end to the season if those were the last 2 episodes of the season. It still wouldn't have explained away some of the decisions that were made in the
Mm-hmm.
prior 8 episodes of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to me, like, I think you can maybe account for the fact that like there was an original plan for 40 episodes, 4 episodes of 10, like 4 episodes or 4 seasons of 10 episodes apiece. There was this plan for 40 episodes, and that plan had to be ditched.
Mm-hmm.
That is an excuse up to a point. But now the decisions that are being made about like what to change seem to me like it is more about avoiding having to show like more events on screen that could
Mm-hmm.
make the show more expensive. Like
Oh, interesting.
to
Yeah.
me, like Damon, like Damon's whole arc at Harrenhal last season, the fact that we basically got
Mm-hmm.
no action set pieces, like the whole season, like right, like there was
Mm-hmm.
basically no big action sequences the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
This season, a lot of the violence and like a lot of the battles and stuff have been off screen, not shown, done with very few people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, we've gotten these little action sequences where it's like even this last the butcher's ball is we get Cole fights like 5 guys and then
Mm-hmm.
it's over, and
Right.
with his merry band of 30 guys he
Mm-hmm.
where there's like it's all scaled down and like it's much more focus on like having these like very short, like we get these hour-long episodes of like very short scenes
Mm-hmm.
where it's a conversation and not a lot of fleshing out of like they're not adding additional characters who they then might have to, I don't know, like is it as deep as like they don't want to put these characters in and give them speaking lines so that they can not pay them like full rate, right? Like of
I
like
mean, that can happen.
yeah, so it almost feels like a cost cutting exercise in this
Mm-hmm.
show, like to a certain extent, where like they just the decisions aren't being, all I know is that for me personally and for a lot of people, the decisions that are being made are not making for a more compelling narrative, so there must be a different reason.
Yeah. So I think I never bought the excuse that, oh, mommy HBO said I couldn't have 40 episodes. Mom said I
Right.
had to go home early and only have 36, or whatever ends up shaking out to.
Right.
Um, I think we have definitive proof now that that was never true because Daron was written out of season 1.
Right.
So whatever their original 40 episode plan was did not include Daron. But now it does.
Right.
So they're lying about that.
Yeah.
They're lying about it. We had to go a different direction because of HBO. So you add an entire theater, you add a whole new Targaryen prince. You completely adding him back in completely changes the story they're writing, as we can see in the way they're
Yeah.
handling season 3. So they've also said shit like that before, like HBO when they were making Game of Thrones, the bad show. They made all kinds of really dumb excuses about like different like costume things, for example. Like they said that they didn't give Targaryens purple eyes because their actors could not act through the contacts. And I was like, come again?
Right.
If your actor cannot act, first of all, I would like to point you to Star Trek, where people are wearing like full prosthetics the entire 6, 7 seasons they're on a goddamn show. They act
Right.
fine through the prosthetics. If your actors can't act through contacts, get new actors. Just tell me the truth, which is that you didn't particularly care about it. That's fine. I don't care if you don't care about it, but just be honest about it. They lie about stuff all the time. In terms of like, why are they making adaptational changes that are not making the story more compelling and then frequently are hurting the story? I think this comes down to a real difference between how a novel is written and how a television show is written. Because to get a novel published takes years. You have to, you're drafting, you're writing, you're rewriting, you're getting people to read it, you're hiring professional editors to go through. Like, there's so much. Even for an established author like George R.R. Martin, who like could get anything published, like Fire and Blood was, by nature of being a book traditionally published in the United States, went through a rigorous process before those words ever reached the public. Script writing does not go through that process. Now, script writing has its whole own host of problems because you have to plan out battles and costumes and actors, and like you have to do all these other things. But the actual quality of the language in the script and its consistency as a narrative and its characterization, all those things that are vital in a novel, because all you have in a novel is the words, in a script is not the same. And it doesn't go through the same rigorous process. And what I see in the way the show has been developing is what feels like a first draft. Like, and I'm sure it's not technically the first draft. I'm sure they like did editing or whatever, but it just feels like these were a lot of their original ideas that they just stuck with, and nobody said like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. You have to, like, that's a plot hole, you know, like you have to fix that. You know, nobody, like, it didn't go through that kind of rigorous editing process. And I think that's a problem of episodic television, where you're writing your seasons years apart. Different people are writing different episodes. And the writers also don't seem to really respect each other, because things like episode 3 with Rhaenyra, like we were talking about from her point of view, is not reflected anywhere else in any of the other scripts. And you see, it seems to lack a cohesion in the writing room, and it lacks a forethought. So you have these changes being made, like you were mentioning before, making Alicent and Rhaenyra the main characters was interesting for season 1, but kind of impossible to continue with in seasons 2 and 3, because you lose a lot of the tension there, because Alicent is not heading up the other army, and then she ends up being prisoner, so she's not even like a threat or anything like that. So, but they didn't think that through,
right?
Because they didn't have to, because it's just such a different medium. And so I want to just say they're bad writers, and I think they are in a lot of ways. But I mean, Ryan Condal personally menaces me every day. Constantly menaced by Ryan Condal. But I think there's also a real difference between not only the medium of the writing, but like the writers themselves. Like George R.R. Martin is like a particularly excellent writer. And you're trying to take his story that works in the medium it is produced in and turn it into something else, where it just cannot be copied directly. For lots of reasons, it cannot be copied directly. And then you're giving it to someone else to write it. You know, I think it would be a lot different if George wrote it. I mean, a lot of the episodes of The Bad Show that were good, like The Blackwater, George R. Martin wrote. And it was different from the book version. There were changes. But it was
it's him adapting his own work, where you know, there's been a lot of conversation about authorial intent, right? And stuff, and like when you maintain it, it obviously feels more faithful because the writer obviously had something in mind when they wrote the book.
Right. And I think that we saw after season 2, when it kind of became apparent that they were going to cut Nettles, George R. R. Martin pulled away from House of the Dragon. And he gave
Yeah.
that interview with Vanity Fair or something. I forget who he gave the interview with, where he said he was unhappy with the direction of the show because Nettles is really important. And George knows it's really important. But the writers of the show don't see how she's really important to their script.
Yeah.
And or feel that they can do the script in a way where she's not necessary. And I don't know why they think something like that, other than that, like they didn't read the text very closely. I do genuinely believe that in the Bad Show, D&D did not read the books very closely. You know, they were two guys that read A Feast for Crows and said, that was stupid. Who's this Ariane chick? Where's Daenerys?
Right.
You know, like they're those guys. And
Meanwhile, Ryan Condal loved A Feast for Crows so much that he's taking Fire and Blood and adapting A Feast for Crows.
yeah. So I don't know. I continue to think about this question of like, because the first question is why make a particular change? And there's lots of reasons to do that. But then why make a bad change? Why make a change that's hurting the integrity of your story from like an in-universe perspective, not from like it's different from the book's perspective, you know?
Right. I don't know. I'm still I'm trying to imagine a world in which I get a second. I go back in time and I am like, no, let me adapt Fire and Blood. And here's how I will do it. I'll animate it. It will cost you a lot less money. We'll get the best voice actors to portray a bunch of different characters. We'll be able to include them all because you can. And the main character of my show is going to be Archmaester Gildane.
That would be great, actually.
Because what you could show in between your little eras, or like in between the like what happened or whatever, you get to portray like what he wants, and you can show what actually happened in the animation.
Yeah.
But him spinning the story is part of what's going on, and his own motivations for why he wrote Fire and Blood.
Yeah.
In the political moment that he exists in would be part of the story.
Yes, I think that would be fantastic. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And you could do something like that in like 22, 24-minute episodes, like Avatar: Last Airbender length episodes, and just do a bajillion of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're talking like this would be One Piece, the One Piece of the of the A Song of Ice and Fire universe. It would be 2,000 episodes.
Yes, and I would watch every single one.
But that's I think there's something to the idea that like, because people talk about how Fire and Blood is like completely like it's become this like false thing that people talk about where they're like it's just unadaptable. Like they took a in-world history book and just it's impossible to adapt. It's like it's impossible to adapt if you insist on like it being like this being the definitive version of events or whatever, like because people will disagree with you, right, for different reasons, where if you allow for the ambiguity because the maester writing it is part of the story, like that to me is like
that's way more interesting
to do it. But it would also be but you know, I
did want to slightly screen doctor this season a bit at this point because I had messaged you before where I was saying like I don't even know what to do with the scenes in the Riverlands. Like I don't even know how to fix it because I love part of what I love about media and analysis is like being like I don't like that. How would I want to see it? Like as a viewer, what would be more satisfying for me? What would be more dramatically satisfying? And I think what I would have done for this season is nix Tumbleton entirely. Don't write Daeron in. Daeron's out. And just so take out all the Daeron shit. Save all your screen time on that. Save all your Tumbleton screen time. And up the amount of the Valerians of the story. We already had them as characters established. You could have had your Baelas and your Rhaenys and your Corlys and your Adams, your Ellie. You could have the whole family doing dragon shit. Have them do their dragon shit in the Riverlands and then basically put all your players on one board. So you have all of your variety of battles that we've been talking about all happen in kind of the same area. You got Harrenhal there, you know, like everyone's kind of around the middle of Westeros-ish. And just do, like, you can do, for example, the Turncloak stuff at a different battle. It doesn't matter that it happens at Tubbleton. It just matters that it happens, right?
Right.
So I would just nobody cares about Tubbleton. Nobody knows what Tubbleton is until literally this season. So just like do it in and around the Riverlands and like outside of King's Landing. And then you could do your butcher's balls and your honey wines and all your different things. And have our main characters there so we care about these battles.
Right.
And then we can actually maybe see some of them. So that's, I think, how I would try to fix it.
The only other way to do it is to basically split, like, you would have to split the show in two, essentially, where there is everything related to specifically like the court intrigue of King's Landing and the prisoners within it, plus whatever the fuck is going on with Aegon and Aemond. And the other half of the show would be just Riverland shit, right? Like, in order to portray all of it, right? Like, you would have to do that. And it's just, I think at a certain point, like, I will sympathize with the show in that I think it becomes a little unwieldy. Like, if you try to do all of it, the problem is that they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too, where they're not trying to portray it, but they are still trying to keep the fans on side by showing certain stuff from it. Of like, here's Black Alley, see? Like,
a woman with black eyeliner is certainly, you know who that is.
Yeah.
Actually, no, but okay.
Yeah, like, so that's where that's another area where I think like they've been, and maybe it is just, you know, you talked about like how it's written and all of that sort of stuff, and just like how they approach it. I do think it feels very much like it is written episode to episode.
Yeah.
And not with like, the arcs are not as clearly defined as you would expect.
And not with a critical eye. That's the thing, is like when I talk about like book publishing, but to even get like eyes on your pages, like if you're doing traditional publishing, you have to have such a well-polished, because there's so many people trying to get books published, right?
Yeah.
You have to have such a well-polished draft. Like by the time you hit like a real editor or a real, I forget what they're called now, a real agent, you have to be so used to taking critique of your writing to make it better.
Right.
That like, that's part of the process. The House of the Dragon scripts and the Game of Thrones scripts, especially towards the end, feel like fart sniffing kind of scripts. You know, Ormond Hightower would hate it. It feels like someone in that room was like, you know what Daemon would do? Daemon would disguise himself as a gold cloak and sneak into the city himself and figure out. And someone else said, oh my God, yes, he would.
Yeah.
And then a third person said, that's fantastic. Put that on the board. And no one was like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. He has a dragon. You know, like there was no, they need a single nerd who's read the book to be in the room to yell at them when they're doing stupid shit. You know,
well, it's really funny because as I was scrolling just this evening, like before we recorded, I was served a video of Bill Hader being interviewed about the show Barry, which is actually quite good HBO
Barry. Yeah.
television show. But he was talking about, so he, I guess, wrote on South Park for a while, which I'm not a big South Park person by any stretch of the imagination. But he talked about in the sense of story structure, and like when you're structuring a story, he's like, one of the things that got beat into my head at South Park was the idea that if you are laying out your story beats for an episode and you say and then, you're in the wrong, because
Oh,
you
interesting.
should be saying like therefore,
Oh, I see. I see. Yes. Hmm.
like one thing is happening which leads to another thing.
Hmm.
And these episodes very much feel like it's written, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And
Hmm.
it's like, because it's just stuff happening. Like it's not, using the easy example of this season, Rhaenyra kills Otto.
Hmm.
Therefore, Alicent and Rhaenyra have a conversation about the fact that Rhaenyra killed Otto.
Hmm.
Rhaenyra, therefore, Rhaenyra and like tension between Rhaenyra and Alicent is
Right.
higher,
Builds.
whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it just feels like it's like, and then this happens, and then this happens, like,
Hmm.
and it all feels very disconnected.
It does. You're
Um,
right. That's a really good way to describe it. It's like
where
a random, like you said, it's like a random collection of scenes,
yeah,
and it's like an escape room. Figure out what you care about.
mhm. Like the structure just sets it up where it's like, yeah, it is, and I think that's why it's created, to me, it's created so much division, because like within the fandom, and there are some people who feel so strongly about like never criticizing it, and some people like us who really just aren't connecting with it,
Hmm.
is because to me the people who are, and I honestly give credit to them, because I do wish that my brain was more like this, or allowed me to do this like
Yeah.
more
I
so.
wish I wish I could feel joy. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, like why can't I just, can I just enjoy this? But there are people who they do, I feel that they do a lot of heavy lifting in
Hmm.
order to make these, like, what are at times like the discrete scenes are good, like there is good stuff in them.
Hmm.
um and they are allowing themselves to like focus on what is in that discrete scene and not think about, like, I'm not saying they're not thinking about it that hard, I just mean like they are doing a lot of the heavy lifting to make it connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my thing is like the lack of connective tissue in a lot of these plots really bothers me.
Hmm.
um where other people are able to like do the heavy lifting, and I think that is the divide, is like they're like, no, they're giving us good stuff in these scenes and I'm just enjoying that for what it is or whatever.
Hmm.
Whereas I'm like, but why does it, like why is this good thing also causing this other very stupid thing to happen, right? Like,
Yeah. And I think this gets back also to like what you're talking about is also like just there's a pacing issue. And they had the same pacing issue in season 2 where like the season starts off like so fast and then it like grinds to a halt.
right,
And like tell me how nothing happened in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
right,
Like I'll give you that like season episode but episode 3 you could skip. It's like a filler. You could skip it and have no problem. You'd be able to understand everything. So it's like how do you do that? How do you have just nothing happen for so many episodes?
right.
Like there's stuff on screen. It looks nice. My eyes like it, but just like
Mm,
nothing is happening. And
right.
it's not just that's just not me being a book snob critiquing it. I every Monday morning I have the pleasure of going to the courthouse where I work, and everyone knows I'm the Song of Ice and Fire person. And they're like, let's talk about the Dragon Show. And I'm like, let's. And they're all like non-book readers. And from them, I'm getting the like, nothing's happening. I don't understand this. Why doesn't Rainier adjust? That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So, it's you're right. There's like a lack of connection. And because of that lack of connection, a lack of characterization that's consistent, you
mm,
know, that I think is really,
yeah,
really missing.
yeah. And yeah, like Gail was saying, I think the actors do a lot of heavy lifting in the show for
Oh
what
yeah.
is otherwise like weak
Well, I wonder sometimes if I just like the
screenwriting.
Rainier, if I just like the Rainier scenes because Emma Darcy is there.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like there's so many actors in this who are so talented, so strong.
Mhm.
Like, um, I've been pretty annoyed about the fact that Tom Glencarney is just not in the show more, like as Aegon.
Hmm.
Because he is very, very good, like a very good actor.
Hmm.
Deplorable character, right? Absolutely
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
But they made him. That's why I've thought that the making it his whole storyline into a bit of a sideshow has been like one of the more disappointing things about the season, in that it's like it's literally played for like laughs.
But then you
um
get like that scene between the Clubfoot and Aegon where Aegon's like, "Oh, poor me," and the Clubfoot's like, "You're literally the most privileged person in the kingdom. What the fuck are you talking about?"
yes, yes.
Well written, well acted, like the
Mhm.
whole it was great. I wish it was in a different show, but
Thematically poignant, like all of the stuff that you
yeah,
want out of the show, right?
right.
Like
I'm like, who
um
wrote this? You know?
yeah. Also, I have more Lara Strong complaints, in that Lara Strong went from having a network of mute assassins who would do his bidding at any given point,
Right.
and now those people are seemingly all gone, even though he fully staffed the Red Keep with his people,
Yeah.
like before. When Blood and Cheese happened, it was because Laris's people literally staffed the entire castle.
Yeah.
And now he has no connections to anybody at any point, and no help from anyone. Like, I was half expecting them to pull up to Rook's Rest and have a guy who can't talk point to his like locust patch or whatever and be like, "I got you, dog."
Yeah.
Um, because he literally murdered his father and brother with an army of mute,
He
like
did. You're right.
henchmen.
You're
Um,
right.
and now he's like kind of a sad sack. Except in the one scene where he tells Aegon he's a piece of shit.
That's also I don't again, it's the pacing. It's like if you have your buddy cop characters doing the same thing for multiple episodes in a row.
Yeah.
They are what are they doing? They are walking through the woods. Now what are they doing? They are walking through the woods. Now what are they doing? They are walking through the woods. And
Right.
now they've reached Rook's Rest and then they're back in the woods.
Like,
Like
guys, it's been 4 episodes.
this was like when the seventh Harry Potter book came out, and I was the one naysayer because I started young on this journey of critique. Uh,
You could tell something was off.
I was like, I don't like this. The seventh Harry Potter book came out, and I don't know if you've ever had the strange pleasure of reading those books. Like 60% of that book was the kids camping. Like the main kids like didn't go back to Hogwarts that year for like plot reasons, I guess.
That's
And
crazy.
their solution was to hide in the woods around England, to like hide from the Dark Lord, etc. Uh, and then every few months they would do an activity. They'd be like, "Oh, we should go back to Godric's Hollow. We should go break into this bank. We should do it." But like the weeks and weeks in between was literally them just camping. And I remember reading it and being like, "This is." They didn't. I remember saying at the time when I was a child, I was like, "They didn't edit this appropriately." And all my friends were like, "It's the greatest," and I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think so." But it's the same thing. It's just like if you're going to tell a story, you have to tell it. You know, the next set piece after Rhaenyra takes King's Landing, the next set piece is Tumbleton. And if you're going to skip the battles, if you're going to gloss over the battles, then the next set piece is Tumbleton. You have to do it. You have to do
Right.
Tumbleton.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I think they're also they're trapped in this like Game of Thrones thing where it's like the episodes that things happen in, because of the way that Game of Thrones structured their seasons, is episode 2 and episode 9.
Yeah.
Like, so the second episode of the season and the second to last episode of the season, where those are the episodes where big things happen, because that's how it was a couple of seasons out of the 8 seasons in Game of Thrones. And they have like so heavily locked themselves in to this is how the structure of a Game of Thrones season of television is. That it literally felt like they did the gullet and then we're like, okay, now nothing can happen until the second to last episode.
Right. It really is. It really is. It's like it's that wheel spinning.
Yeah.
And
The one thing we'll allow is Cole to die, and we're gonna try to make it as like have as little impact on what's going on as possible.
and when the viewers complain, we're going to tell them they just don't get it. It's so meta, and
Yeah.
they just don't understand us. It's not a
Yep.
phase, Mom. You just don't understand.
Ah.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
Well,
that means the next episode is the second to last one, right? Because it's an 8-episode
it
season.
is, which makes me think it would be Tumbleton, but they just sent Alicent to Harrenhal, so like, I don't know.
What if we don't get God's Eye and we also don't get Tumbleton?
There's no way, right? Like, there's simply
Right?
no way.
I have to believe. There's going to be one. I have
Can you
to
imagine
believe.
if there's two more episodes and episode 8 is a trailer, like is the same as episode 8 of season 2, where it was just a trailer for
my
season
God.
3, where they did the montage at the end. Like, next season on House of the Dragon, the armies march to war.
They would have to do that. Would mean season 4 in 8 episodes. They would have to do Tumbleton, something akin to the Moon and the Three Kings. So I always kind of thought they would cut that. I always sort of assumed that would be kind of cut or truncated. God's Eye, and then Dragonstone. Like you could do that, I guess, if you're at breakneck speed.
Yeah.
You could do.
Oh, also,
Mhm.
Cregan Stark. Like,
where is he?
They cast him. He's in a cold open, or not a cold open, but he's in like the first scene of an episode with Jace, right? That's all the way back in season 1. Season 1. They introduce him only for there's definitely not gonna be Hour of the Wolf, like,
no,
in the show. There's simply no way.
No, there's definitely not.
When they could have made Cregan Stark like a whole person.
Dude, I would have loved if they made Cregan Stark a whole person. First of all, the actor they cast of him was very handsome, but we love to see it. And he had such gay vibes with Jace, and we would have loved to see that too. But you're right. Ryan Condal hates gay people. I think you're right. You heard it here first, folks.
That's the takeaway. Ormond is Ryan Condal's self-insert, where he's just like a white supremacist, gay hating.
Maybe
Ryan Condal hates smells.
Maybe Ryan Condal hates smells. Wait, Gail makes a really good point in the comments that they're going to cut another lesbian pair by cutting the Moon and the Three Kings.
Oh, Gaiman Palehair's mom.
Yeah.
Moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, cutting Gaiman.
Not very love is love of him. Not very love is love. Come on. I worry. Could it be that there is no Tumbleton this season?
No, it's got to be. There's simply no way that we've spent eons seemingly building in Tumbleton, and they've it has to pay off this season. There's no way. I don't think they're going to pay Ormond's actor to be in another season of TV. So
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think he's a one and done.
How would
they made him like the villain for this season, and then he's gonna be gone.
How would they get Rhaenyra to attack Tumbleton finally? Maybe with the Turncloak stuff?
Probably.
Maybe like she hears about Turncloak stuff and she's like, fuck it, we got to go down there now.
Because isn't it, I mean, they're the two who are doing nothing on the hill, so like they're the ones there. They could cook up a scheme on the hillside and try to switch sides. And
this is all, again, like Rhaenyra not attacking Tumbleton is all premised on this idea that like if you attack with a dragon, you attack the entire thing, which like you don't.
Yeah,
you don't. We've seen it. We've seen that you don't attack the entire thing.
Wasn't Visenya landed in the Eyrie, right, on Vagar, and took the little princeling, or the little lord thing.
The lord that flew. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
yeah, so
you can assert power with dragons without immediately killing everybody.
Yeah, we literally saw it in this season of television in episode 2 when they landed in when Rhaenyra and Daemon landed in King's Landing with their dragons and took the castle. So like we saw it very recently on our screens in the same season of this television show. So
Jesus Christ. I like, yeah.
They just need one nerd in the room to yell at them about this.
Yep.
You know, just one.
Well,
so you think we talked about it enough? We talked for 3.5 hours about
probably
4 hours of TV.
Probably. Yeah, what's well, yeah. What now?
Well, we'll watch this episode this weekend, and we'll try to record after each episode, but both Phil and I are just extraordinarily busy bees. Because we work and have real jobs, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hate that for us.
And that being said, now that the move is mostly done, I'm like more and I actually have my like recording things. Now it's like more possible.
I like that our different setups today. So this is my like home office. Yeah, and this
is my home office. The big tiger. It's a giant stuffed tiger. But yeah, so I guess we'll see. I guess we'll just see. If Tumbleton doesn't happen in these next 2 episodes, I will unfortunately like.
So I'm gonna say no God's Eye this season, and I'm predicting next episode that Alice and Alicent are gonna be catty with each other. And I'm also, this is my like wildest prediction. I think those dragon eggs not on screen again for this season. I feel like I could be wrong about that, but you know what? I don't get punished for being wrong about it, so I'm going to make that prediction.
True. All right. Well,
Gail, thank you so much for joining us the whole time. This has been a very long stream.
Yes, it has. Yes, thank you guys for hanging out. And yeah, we'll try to be back for next episode. I know. Yeah, hopefully we have something to cling on to.
If they fucking pull out the God's Eye in like the 8th episode, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, that would be. At this point, it's like it's too late. You had your chance.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well.
All right. Well, until next time, everyone. Have a good night. Farewell.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.